Howdy, friends and floorheads. Happy Thursday night, the beginning of a long weekend for a lot of us coming up. And tonight we are headed to the Weird West, Shane Hensley's Savage Worlds Deadlands. For those of you that listen to the podcast, Tabletop Talk, you know that we just released my interview with Shane. So if you haven't caught that, you should. And the scenario that tonight is based on is a creation of Shane Hensley. This is his go-to one shot, and we'll see how things go. So to my right on your screen, we have got Corey and Donald and Eric and Jim, four of my good friends and patrons that have decided to trust me enough to try this system out with me. Instead of a long intro, I think we should just get started. So we'll start with a black screen. And our episode opens looking at the night sky as thin clouds drift by a bright full moon. We pan down to the flat grasslands of Kansas. It's 1877. The families, barons, and men of evil intent are beginning to settle the Kansas prairies. Long stretches of untouched prairies lie between the few settlements that dot the land. We pan down and zoom a little bit closer from above to a clearing that breaks apart the chest-high grass. About 50 yards away from this clearing, we can see the only tree in sight. Tied to it are 4 horses, tired after a day's travel and feeding off the natural hay. We cut back to the campfire. The area around the campfire has been cleared out. They've got their own little shelter of the high grass. And these 4 men are sitting by the fire. Each of them preparing what they'll eat before falling asleep under this round moon. The campfire's warm yellow and orange light reflects on the last man to settle down among the 3 of them. Corey, can you describe Toshiro for me?
Toshiro is a wiry man, clearly of Japanese descent, with a goatee. He's dressed in a sort of hodgepodge of frontier garb and traditional Japanese clothing, clearly patched together from a lot of time out here in the West. The most prominent things about him are both the fact that he's missing one eye and the large naginata that he's got strapped across his back.
So as Toshiro settles down, he's got something on his mind.
Well, I think we can all agree that this day could have gone better. Sebastian, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your approach to the other members of the train. I think the first thing I'd like to address is maybe don't pick a fist fight with one of the engineers.
Well, engineer shouldn't be calling my friend's character into question. Mr. Jack here was just playing cards and he accused him of cheating. That ain't right. I've never known Mr. Jack here to cheat.
So the large guy sitting at the table with his beard pulls out a deck of cards. See, they are not marked. I told them that. They're a normal thing. Just because I'm better at them, everyone assumes I'm using marked cards. So, do you all see a mark on here?
I feel like that might be pointed at me there.
Puts the cards away and starts grabbing his food.
What's Jack eating? What's he getting ready?
Oh, honestly, probably some hardtack that he's really not liking. Putting some water in a steel cup and trying to maybe make a broth out of it with the hardtack to soften it up some.
Nice.
you can definitely tell this is not the area he's used to being in. He's wearing a shirt and vest, but the edges are kind of tattered, like he's had it for a while. Definitely, the type who earned some money, bought some nice clothes, and then just never really kept enough cash to keep it up.
So near Jack, sitting on a log behind, we can see his bread roll already, and he's our only bespectacled character. So can we describe Edward?
Sure. Edward is a young man, very well kept. He's in a nice suit. He definitely doesn't appear to be at home out in the wilds. Young and fresh faced, wire brim glasses, short cropped sandy blonde hair.
And what's Edward preparing for dinner?
I'm thinking that it's a can of some kind of like red beans is what he's working on now, and I can imagine him saying something to the effect of, we'd be halfway to Boulder by now if you guys hadn't antagonized him, and I'd be in the dining car right now instead of cooking this can of beans.
Yeah. Well,
Watch out for that spider over there, Edward.
Jeez.
I mean, look at it this way. We now get to enjoy this beautiful night. We didn't get nights like this back in Virginia.
So Sebastian makes that statement, and everybody kind of looks at him side-eyed just a little bit. Can we describe Sebastian to everybody?
Sebastian's very young looking. He's very baby faced. He's probably trying to grow in a beard. It's very straggly right now. He's very much trying to fit into what he thinks is the Western look, because it's really just his dream to get away from his highfalutin family back in Virginia to just go do his own thing. So,
well, each of you start to focus on getting your meal ready, thinking about just this hell of a day that started with you on a train and ends up with you riding horseback for most of the day. Like I said, the grass, there's a nice little breeze going, so you get a really kind of a neat effect from the tall grass as it sways a little bit. And it being chest high and you sitting there on the ground around this fire gives you just this feeling of protection. Periodically, I would imagine one of you will stand up and just take a peek, counting 4 heads on those horses that are about 50 yards away, tied to the tree, making sure that they're all there. What is everybody's notice? Can I get a notice, or not a notice roll, but I want to find out who has the highest notice.
I've got a D6.
I've got a D6 as well.
I got a D4.
Edward?
D6 for me.
All right, so let's have Jack do our first roll of the night. Now, just real quick, for those of you not familiar with Savage Worlds, that's the engine behind this Deadlands. Each of these fine characters are what are called wild cards, which means they're special. They're not just regular extras in this movie. They're the tops. So what always happens? Good Lord. I get to explain aces now. So what happens is they always have a stat, and that stat corresponds to a die. So a D4, a D6, all the way up to D12. And the vast majority of the time, their target number is 4. So if they're rolling a D4, they need to get a 4. If they're rolling a D6, they need to get a 4, 5, or 6. Now, being wild cards, they also get to roll a wild die. So in this case, we saw Jack roll his D6 for his notice, as well as his wild die of D6. So whenever these fine characters are making a roll, they're going to roll that D6 and they take the best of the 2. Now the dice explode also in Savage World. So we saw one of those dice was a D, and one of those D6s rolled a 6, which caused us to roll another D6. It looks like that exploded as well, which gave us another D6. So we ended up with a 14 total for our notice roll. So Jack, you can tell somebody in Kansas has changed their mind. Let's see. Jack, you're sitting there and things get a little quiet, and could be mistaken, but there's like a rustling noise. The horses are about due east of you, and is your best guess that the noise is coming from the northwest.
So is that grass supposed to be weaving like that, or is there something in there? Because that section over there looks like it's got a little bit of a dust devil in it compared to the rest of the stuff. He'll say as he's pointing to the northwest.
Shouldn't be anything out here that I can think of, Jack.
So, Jack, as you look out, I don't know if anybody else is standing and looking too. There does seem to be something just kind of rustling in the grass. So you can see kind of the constant wave, right? And then just an area, maybe 20 yards out, 25 yards out, where there's a break in the grass and it seems to be slowly moving, not getting closer, just moving along.
Did you see that right over there? Did you see it?
Could be a coyote, maybe a jackrabbit.
So Jack's gonna pull one of his knives and basically palm it. He's gonna hold it so that if it turns out to be some really short person, we're not gonna see the knife in his hand immediately before we talk to him.
Yeah. Sebastian's gonna go ahead and pick up his rifle and kind of get ready for something.
All right. So Sebastian's got his rifle out. We got Jack with his knife, not obvious, but ready and available to him. What's Toshiro doing?
Toshiro is just going to hold the Naginata at his side, not in an obviously aggressive stance, but ready to use it as well.
Oh, on the long list of things that Edward wanted to happen tonight, this may not be it. What's Edward doing?
Agreed. I think Edward is sort of, tucked right at the fire there, and is sort of timidly glancing left and right to see if he can track this movement.
So as you guys are trying, and it's not easy, right? Luckily the moon's full, so it's casting a good bit of light out there. But seeing the top of the grass and trying to track this thing, whatever it is, whatever's causing this disruption in the waves of grain there, you kind of lose track of it. And then one of the horses starts. You see it kind of jerking around a little bit. You see it kind of pulling on its rein that's tied to the tree, and it's just starting to get fussy and bothered, and that's of course causing the other three horses to kind of start to whinny. So we've got a bit of a fuss going.
I ain't ever known horses to get spooked to be a good thing.
Yeah.
I suppose we ought to go investigate, unless we lose our rides.
Well,
Agreed.
Edward, I suppose you should probably come with us.
Sure, I'll look after the horses.
Edward, do you have a way of protecting yourself?
I do. I have this here pistol.
As long as you have something.
All right, so we stand up, about 50-yard walk over to the horses. They're getting and really kind of pulling at the reins. And luckily, you guys tied that good, so I don't see a situation where they're going to be able to get free. If anything, they'll end up hurting themselves before that happens. Give me kind of an idea of how we're approaching the situation. We know Edward's in the back.
Although now the back is towards the original source of the rustling, but
this is true.
But
I think Toshiro will take the front, using his spear or his naginata to, part the grasses in front of them.
Yeah, and as you start to shear working into the grass, boy, it was a lot easier when you guys were on the horses, right? Because when you're on the horses, it was just brushing against your ankles and your the bottoms of your legs. But now working through this, it's your heads are just above it, and depending on your height, the grass is coming right up to your shoulders or right to your chest. And Tashira, as you work your way through it, try to watch them horses. You hear a whinny. One of them, the head drops down. It causes you to pause for a second. And then you see a splash of blood go up against the tree and just it almost looks like someone took a bucket of blood and just tossed it at the tree. And you see the blood splash in the moonlight and hit the tree, and it starts to drip down as the first head disappears.
Thank goodness I didn't name my horse Craig.
Tashira throws a hand back and drops to his haunches and motions the others to lower themselves down as well.
So now the horses are freaking out. So they're pulling on the reins, and it looks like one of them might even, really, really hurt itself. And it's kind of going, and you pausing and trying to figure out. I mean, that was just unlike anything you'd ever seen or heard. And you stop for a second. Is that a growl? The second horse, you see the head of the horse fly up against and hits the top of the tree. And again, just blood splashes everywhere. The third horse starting to pull, and you just see it fall under its own weight, and it hangs itself by the reins. You guys are about halfway there. What are we doing?
We need to get there. So Toshira is going to just start booking it towards the horses.
All right, so Tashira, you take off. Sebastian, what are we doing?
I'll cock my rifle, and I'll be close to Tashira's heels to provide support for him.
Jack Edward?
I'm putting away my dagger, and I'm grabbing a deck of cards, and I'm heading out after them.
All right, and Edward?
And I think I'm fumbling with this pistol and heading towards the remaining horse to see if maybe I can get it untied.
So as you start to approach, we now see no more horses. We see the one horse hanging itself by the reins. And as you get closer, you realize it's just the head. It's been torn off, and it's just the head that's hanging there. And as you get there, it is just gore, blood everywhere. You've got 4 horse carcasses, gutted open, all of them with their tongues hanging out. The smell, that metal smell of blood just fills your nostrils, and everybody's head's on a swivel trying to track the grass.
Well,
what could
thought
do
it was
something
going to
like
be a
that?
nice night.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, if I may make a suggestion, I believe the campfire is probably our safest bet.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm starting to, think we shouldn't have left the train.
Maybe.
So I'm going to need fear checks from you, from each one of you. So to do the fear checks in this game, what we're going to have to do is each of you are going to need to make a spirit roll. It will be, your wild die will apply, but I also need you to do each at a -2. So as you put in your wild die and you put in your die, use the adjustment to do a -2. Let's do them one at a time. Let's see what Tashiro's fear check looks like.
So I actually have the Ed Brave, so that will cancel out the -2 from the penalty
Excellent.
that you gave me.
All right, so
Unfortunately, it doesn't help me much.
So we rolled a 1 and a 3. The best of those is the 3. So I've got a failure from Tashiro. Sebastian, let's get your fear roll. So it'll be a spirit. That's a nice explosion. That gets you up to 7. Edward.
All right.
Edward with a 5. Look at Edward, brave man with the exploding dice. And
He's seen
Jack.
blood before. He's a doctor. This is fine.
All right, Jack
No.
rolled a 5 and a 4 at the -2, though. That puts us at a 3. So that means I've got Jack and Toshiro with our failures. So, Toshiro, can I get a D20 roll from you on our fear table?
Yes, this will also actually, due to Brave, this will be at a -2.
Okay, great. So go ahead and put that adjustment in there for me. So when you put in the D20, put a adjustment at a -2.
Let's see here. Where is, I only go up
Yeah.
to D12 on here.
You can just type in /R and then space and then 1D20 -2.
Perfect.
All right, that puts us at a 13. The hero is stunned and suffers some cosmetic physical alteration. A white streak forms in his hair, his eye twitches constantly, or some other minor physical alteration manifests. So, Toshiro, I don't know if it's because you love horses or, it's one thing to see a little bit of gore here, a little bit there, but this is just a field of carcasses and death. What does this do, and what is this permanent effect that's going to be with you for forever? Physical effect.
Sure. I think Toshiro did name his horse, unfortunately, Akira. So I think I like the eye twitching. He's developed a bit of an eye twitch. It's not incredibly noticeable, but that horse had been with him for a long time.
And as Sebastian and Edward start heading back to the fire, Toshiro, you're kind of just stunned and just standing there, just in utter disbelief of what you're seeing. Jack, let's do the same thing. If I can get a D20 roll from you. All right. Adrenaline surge. The hero's fight response takes over. He acts as he had a joker this action. So when we go to initiative, which is about to happen, you're considered to have a joker, which means everybody gets a Benny. So on your sheets, everybody has 3 bennies. Let's all go to 4 thanks to Jack's adrenaline surge. I would be curious, though, Jack, do we have a sense of why this just gets you jacked up?
Well, when you spend as much time at tables as I do, you start noticing twitches real quick because twitches tend to be followed by guns.
Excellent.
So,
Excellent. All right, so let's go ahead and let's do initiative. Now, in this system, initiative is handled with cards. So we are going to deal out 5 cards. Someone spent a Benny on me? Yeah, Corey.
Nope, that was my fault.
Yeah, that's all right,
Sorry.
buddy.
I'm
You should
trying
be
to
up.
remember how to add them.
If you go into your sheet, there should be a plus there by the
Okay.
Benny. So I need Eric to go up. You go up to 4, and then Corey, you add 2 more because everybody should be at 4. So let's go ahead and let's deal out. I'm going to go ahead and give these a shuffle, and then let's deal out 5 cards. Who knows what the 5th one's for?
And Craig, don't forget that I'm hesitant, so I get 2.
Yep. All right. So the first one goes to Toshiro. He's got a 6. And I'm going to go ahead and deal out the other 5 to speed this up. Next one goes to Jack. We got a 9 for Sebastian. And then poor Edward, being hesitant. You're going to take the worst of the 2, so we're going to lose that ace. You're going to get that 9. And then luckily for you, our mystery friend gets the 3.
Now, I count as having a joker here instead of the 3, correct?
Correct. So that means that you, Jack, can go at any time during this progression. So we're going to start with the 9 of diamonds. So Edward's going to go first, but at any point, if Jack wants to jump in, you just say so, and you will take that slot.
All right.
Edward, you're running back towards the fire.
Mhm.
Jack's right there with you. Sebastian's right there with you. Too much is happening right now. The grass is going by. Nobody's noticed that Toshiro is not following. What do we do?
So do I see anything beyond the 4 of us?
You don't. The only thing you're really seeing is the grass, and your kind of head's going both ways. No disturbance is really apparent in the grass. You do see the light of the fire.
Okay, so I think that I'm going to head towards. I'll run towards the fire and try to get myself basically back where we were sitting around the fire, and then take up a position there.
Okay, pistol out.
Yes.
All right, beautiful. All right, next, my 9 of clubs. That's going to go to Sebastian. What's Sebastian doing?
So we haven't noticed Toshiro, so I'll just keep heading towards the fire also. But I'll be doing it at a little more of a brisk pace, but I also have my rifle ready in case something pops up.
Excellent, excellent. All right, and I got to quickly check stunned again. I think it just means you lose your slot, right? You just stand there for a round. Is that what stun does?
I get stunned and shaken mixed up.
Yeah. So let's.
I believe stunned is you just lose a round.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, so that takes care of the 9 of clubs. You have gone, and that's going to take me to the 6 of diamonds. So Toshiro, you are done, frozen in fear and just disbelief at. Did you say Akira?
Akira.
Poor Akira. God, poor Akira. All right. Now, normally, our mystery participant would go. I want to know if Jack wants to jump in or not.
No, I'm waiting until we can see the mystery participant.
So as you're running, the 3 of you hear just a. Toshiro, you're standing there stunned. Something comes at you from the left, and you barely get a chance to turn your head. You can see the grass parting as it comes to you, and it's going to take a swing at you.
Okay. Does my parry apply?
It does. I need to know what your parry is.
All right. So my parry is going to be 8. Yeah, with a spear and with a trademark weapon.
All right. So with its strength, it rolls a 15, which means it does hit you. We'll now do damage.
Not to be the guy who reminded the teacher about homework, but
Please.
that's with a raise as well.
Oh, that sure is with a raise. All right.
Oh,
So remind me. So if we hit with a raise,
I
that gives
believe
me
it
another
does
D6, right?
an extra
Yep.
D6 of damage.
All right. All right. So we roll an 11 damage. What's your toughness?
Does it have armor piercing?
It does not.
Okay, so my toughness is a 7 then.
All right. So that's going to end up doing.
So it's going to shake me. It got an 11 total.
Yep.
So that's going to shake me and give me a wound.
Shake you and give you a raise. So when you're in the system, we got to get past the parry. That's how we try to hit you in melee combat. It's a little bit different in range combat. Then he has a toughness value, and we have to wound above that toughness. If that happens, then they gain the shaken condition. From there, they can take wounds. Now, in this case, we got shaken, plus we got a raise, which is 4 above the target number. So now 1 of his 3 wounds have been taken. So you're at 2 wounds left, Toshiro. This thing comes at you, and it is a claw across the chest. And it happens so fast that you see, it's just a blackness that comes at you. The claw goes across your chest, and you're looking down, and you can see the cuts happening as they go. Everything is fast, and the momentum of this thing, its body goes up against you, and it spins you. So you can't get quite a good look at the thing. You're kind of turned now, almost 180 from where you are before, and you can see the blood on your chest.
Craig, if I may, I'd like to toss in a Benny to try to soak the wound.
Let's do it.
All right.
So another currency in the game is bennies, and what they can spend these for several reasons. In this case, Toshiro is spending it to try to soak the wound. So now he's going to do a vigor roll.
While he's doing that roll, is that creature within range 16 of us?
It is
All right.
within range 16 of you. All right.
Okay.
So that gives you an 11, which is going to be with a raise, right? So you have no trouble soaking. That 2 wounds that it gets soaked now.
Yep.
Take
So
shaken
I don't.
away.
I think that. Yeah.
And removes the shaken. All right. So that puts you back up to 3 wounds, Toshiro, and you're no longer shaken, which is great. All right. Back to our last slot. Jack, what are we doing?
Okay, so you see Jack take the top card, and he does a flick with it, and it flies out toward the giant thing in black. And
So
I
we're-
am casting bolt.
okay, so you throw the card. Now, you really can't get a sense. You can't see this thing. You see the blackness go across. You see what it does to Toshiro, and it spins Toshiro, and you see the disruption in the grass. So you do know where to throw it, Jack, but I needed it to be at a -2 because of the grass.
Sure, no problem. Okay. And I have a D8 on my spell casting. And I still got it.
You sure
The
did.
5.
So let's roll the damage.
Okay. Turn off the wall die. I guess it didn't really matter since D6. So my damage is a 2D6.
Right.
So only 2.
So Jack, this thing hits. Don't get a real sense that it did a lot of damage, but I'm curious in general now that really this is the first time for at least for me seeing Jack kind of do his his very special card tricks. What does this look like as he throws the card and the card hits this thing in the grass?
So he throws it, and you see it spinning, but it's kind of strange in that it almost looks like it elongates a little bit, like you see echoes behind
Yes.
it as it's flying.
And what happens when it connects?
When it connects, it actually looks like it impales the creature slightly, but then they must shake it or something because you don't see it that when you look again, like it fell off.
So this visage of this card, which is just unreal as it continues to fly from Jack's hand, it cuts into the grass, and we can see the grass like shredding off as this card cuts through it, and then the sound it makes that's stops as it obviously hits whatever it hit, but we can't see it, right? We can't see where it hits because this thing is below the grass at this point. All right, now we're gonna do another round, so everybody gets fresh cards. And what we're going to do is we're going to continue to do this until we get a joker. So you kind of go through and you deplete the deck as we go. So I'm going to deal out 6 cards with Edward getting 2 of them. We got a jack of diamonds for Toshiro. We've got a jack of clubs for Jack. We have got the 8 of diamonds for Sebastian. Edward, you are between an ace and an 8. You're going to get that 8. That ace is going to go.
It's good to know that I'm taking the aces off the top, though.
This
That's
is
what's important
true.
here.
And then our mystery dark friend is going to take the 6 of clubs. That's going to put us with jack of diamonds going first. So Toshiro, once again, you're going first. This thing has flown by you. You've kind of regained your footing a little bit. You've got your sword out, and it's his best guess. You're trying to figure out it headed off to you. It's real difficult to say how far it's gone, though.
Okay. I'm going to be heading back to the camp, but I'm going to be making sure that I have Jack behind me, like directly behind me the whole time.
So Toshiro, you immediately head through the grass, following the same path that the other 3 gentlemen did, and there's now enough track that's been built up between the 3 of them stepping on all this long grass. Because unlike before, you guys were kind of parting the grass as you worked your way towards the horses. It was just run there. So as you work your way past there, you get there and you stand in front of Jack by the fire itself. So that takes care of Toshiro. Jack, standing there is Toshiro right in front of you. What are you going to do?
Okay. I am looking for the creature in the grass. So I'd like to spend my action basically actively looking for it so I can point him out to the people with real ranged weapons.
Yep. So let's do a -2 notice roll.
Okay.
So Jack, you saw you threw the card, you saw it hit, you see Toshiro finally, like where the hell was Toshiro? He comes there and he's kind of standing there in a kind of a protective way, and your head's on a swivel, and you knew where it was, you knew where you hit it, but where it went from there and all of the confusion, you're having a real difficult time.
Okay.
Anything you want to do before we move on?
No, that's,
all right.
That's what my action was going to be.
All right, let's go to the 8 of diamonds. That's going to be Sebastian.
So I'm going to be looking around. Just Edward, you okay? Toshiro, you're back. Jack, you're here.
Yep.
And then I want to reach down and grab like piece of log that's not burning and toss it out in the grass to try and give us some more lighting out towards where it was.
So you pick up that log, and as you pick up the log, Sebastian, you look at Tashiro's chest, and you can see where the clothing had been torn and ripped by this thing. And just by the span of the claws as it went across there, this thing had to had at least a claw size of about like that, right? Like the size of almost a basketball size claw.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 5 of them ripped across his chest. You take that log, it's burning at the one end. You toss it out there. How far do you want to toss it out?
I probably would just toss it as far as I could go towards where the tree was, the direction of where the horses were and everything.
So you toss it out there, you see it land, and it's been dry out here on the prairie. And not only do you get some extra light, you can see that some of that grass, that hay is starting to catch fire, intentional or not, but you've got a small fire there going. But the goal is to add a little bit more light, and that's exactly what happens. Edward, you see Sebastian throw that log out there. You see the fire started over by where the horses were killed.
And can I see now anything like a shadowed silhouette of where this thing might be?
Let's do a notice -1. We're going to reduce that penalty because of the fire that started.
My notice is, what did I say? My notice is a D6. Set a -1.
So Edward, the fire, it does an initial kind of like dry ignite as it starts to go. And you could swear you then see parting ways. So this thing is now circling past where it hit Toshiro, and you can see where it has stopped and is starting to push towards the campfire. But you do have a sense of where the hell this thing is.
So I think that Edward here is just gonna, kind of timidly pull out his pistol and take a shot.
Okay, so we see Edward kind of half shaking a little bit, pull the pistol out. Of course, Sebastian, Toshiro, Jack, you guys recognize the fact that Edward's finally is obviously seeing something. So, Edward, let's go ahead and pull the trigger on that.
And do you need me at a minus of any kind?
It'll be just at the -1.
Okay, so it'll still be at the -1. And my shooting is a D4.
Look at Edward.
Look at that.
So
Blind.
he rolls a D4, but of course with his wild die, he rolls a 6, which then explodes. So we have a 9. So that's going to be with a raise. So let's add a D6 to this damage.
All right. And the damage on the pistol is, I wrote that down, 2D6. So it'll be 3. Oh, but that's not a wild.
No, so you're going to do, let's do it in 2 rolls. So let's do the 2D6. And then we'll roll a D6 afterwards and add it.
But it can ace.
Correct.
So that's 2. And that's 1.
All right. So that's going to be 6. That's going to be 9 damage. So as you're kind of holding the pistol, you see this, the grass part in your way. You fire the gun and you can hear just kind of it definitely hits. It does not appear to be slowing it down.
And I'm not even convinced that he was looking.
So the shot.
Oh my gosh.
The shot fires, and soon after the shot fires, the little sanctuary around this fire breaks free, and just this large black, and it's moving so quickly. It comes through. And we should explain, Jack, you have a hindrance. Can we explain to everybody what your hindrance is?
Sure. I have a hindrance called Trouble Magnet, where people just seem to always find a reason to make it my fault.
So in this situation, as the game marshal, normally I would say you're not really sure what this thing's going to attack. But fortunately for me, Jack makes it easy. By taking that hindrance, he's the trouble magnet. So Jack, we're going to go, we're going to be taking a swipe at you, my friend. What is your parry?
My parry is a 4.
All right. All right, so we hit you with a 10. That's going to be with 1 raise. So that's going to be an additional D6 of damage. Oh, I should not have. I'm going to ignore the wild dice. All of that I'm ignoring. So it's going to be 3. I don't know what the heck's going on here. Hold on. Those are the 2 1d6s. Oh, up there at the top. All right. So I rolled a 12 and then plus the d6. So that's going to be a total of 19. What is your toughness?
My toughness is a 5.
All right. So that's going to be 5. That's a 9 as a 1 raise. That's going to be 13, 2 raises. That's going to be 7. That's going to be with 3 raises. So it's going to give you shaken and 2 wounds, Jack. Do you want to try to make a soak?
Yes. So I spent the penny. And then that was a vigor roll, correct?
Correct, sir.
My vigor's a d6. And nothing.
Unfortunately, it does not happen. So that's going to be you shaken with 2 wounds, Jack. Here's what happens. We see the grass part. We just see this black streak come out of the grass, breaking through into this clearing. It immediately, like it knows, goes right for Jack, and it comes into Jack. And Jack, you look down, and you're not able to really make a sense of everything that's happening so quickly. But this thing has got a mouth, and this mouth has grabbed onto your torso, and it's carried you and pushed you into the grass. You guys can see that it immediately tosses Jack as it goes. So we see this thing float into the grass, grabs Jack, takes Jack with him, and then once it gets into the cover of the grass, we see it kind of toss Jack up in the air, and Jack falls into there. So Jack, as you land, you can see that this thing has bitten into your torso, torn your vest, torn your clothes, and you are bleeding. Let's do another round. All right, Toshiro with the 8 of hearts, Jack with the 8 of spades. 2 of hearts goes to Sebastian.
I need to be redealt on that.
All right.
For my,
Can you explain to
quick.
everybody why?
I have an edge called quick, so during initiative, I can't be dealt below a 5.
All right. Boy, I tell you what, this monster keeps getting the low card. That's a good thing, I guess, right? Let's go ahead and deal you another card to the table. There we go. There's the 7. So the 7 will replace that 2.
All right.
What's the name of that edge?
The edge is called quick.
Quick. All right. So that is going to bring me to the 8 of spades. Jack, you're laying there on the ground. You're shaking. There's a couple ways to get rid of that shaking. You can spend a Benny. That'll immediately get rid of that shaking. Or you can take, is it spirit or vigor? Do you remember?
It's spirit.
All right. Or you can take a spirit roll. What do you want to do, Jack?
I'll take the spirit roll.
All right. Let's go ahead and do that spirit roll. See if you can get rid of shaking.
I have a feeling I'm about to need my bennies.
So don't forget you have a -2 on all skill checks because of your 2 wound levels.
Yeah.
Okay. And I do not remove it because of the -2.
Oh, right. So another thing that is to keep in mind here is as you take wounds, it puts a minus to your roll. So with those 2 wounds that have occurred, that's -2. And so Donald, obviously you did it in the character sheet, which is really smart because that'll automate those negatives, right? Or did you put the minus?
No, I put the -2 in there.
All right, beautiful. So yeah, if we can keep track of that or do it through the character sheet.
Yeah.
Well, no, it won't work on the character sheet. So yeah,
Right.
doing it manually like he did is great. I appreciate you remembering that, Donald.
No problem.
So Jack is still on the ground. What's going through your mind, Jack? I mean, you're not enough to even stand up at this point.
Yeah, not enough to stand up. Trying to figure out where that thing went. You know, maybe playing dead a little bit until I can shake off what's going on, and hoping he doesn't go for. He didn't go for the dead horses over us, so maybe he'll go for the dead Jack over us.
All right, Toshiro. You see all of this happen at all, and right now I'm imagining you seeing the body of Jack getting tossed and landing in the grass.
Okay, yeah. Toshiro is going to run over to Jack, and once he does see that Jack is breathing, he's going to stand guard over him. Is there a way to hold my action in case the thing comes back?
You can't hold your action, but we can put you in a position to where basically if anything's going to get to Jack, it's going to have to go through you. So I'm imagining you like literally standing over him.
Yes.
So even with Jack's magnet, this thing is going to have to go through you first.
Okay.
All right, that takes me to Sebastian. Sebastian, you see Toshiro head over to where you figure Jack landed.
Mm-hmm. Did we see where this thing went?
You can now, so you can see where it's parting because now the fire is starting to expand a little bit. Things are getting lit up. Clouds are moving away from the moon, kind of lighting things up. So you have no trouble tracking this thing through this tall grass. Right. You still can't freaking see this thing. You know it's huge, and it's parting that grass.
All right. Well, I'm gonna shoulder my rifle and be like, well, I guess we had to figure out how to survive out here somehow, and take a shot at him.
All right, let's do that at -2 from the grass in the darkness.
All right. So we got a shooting D8. 2. All right, that'll be a 4.
Even with a -2, that puts you at a 4 because we're going to take that 6 with the higher of the 2. Let's roll that damage.
All right, so my Winchester is a 2d8 -1 damage weapon, but because of my Grim Servant of Death hindrance, all my attacks are at a +1.
Beautiful. So it'll net to be at a +1 then, or +2?
Yeah. Well, so it will cancel out the -1, so it should just be straight 2d8.
Great. So you line up that rifle. You're tracking this thing through. You fire. We hear the shot go off. We can see, we hear it, the bullet instantly go through this grass, and you hear the thump as it hits, and you hear noise. It doesn't slow it down. It's tracking around, coming back towards where it tossed Jack. So you see it doing a 180 and headed back towards Jack. Edward, you see all of this happening. You could hear the rifle fire go. You can hear that it obviously hit, and the beast, whatever this is, reacted.
Okay. So I think my plan is to go move to Jack and try to drag him back to the center by the main fire. So we're out of the tall grass and into the clearing of the campfire space. And then maybe see if I can provide some sort of medical attention.
Okay, so we'll use this action for you. You get to Jack. You can see Jack. Jack's conscious. He's got Toshiro on straddling him, right? So standing with a leg on either side of him. You get there, Edward. You're just gonna kind of fireman under him. That's
the plan. It's like to sort of fireman him and try to pull him back towards the center of the sort of clear space.
And he's not that far, so you're able to get there. You start to drag him, and with your actions and your free actions, you're able to get him, and you break into kind of the opening. So Toshiro, you see the legs the legs vanish out from under you, and you look back and you see Edward dragging Jack back to the campfire. This beast was dead set on finishing Jack off. Ooh, that's not a good phrase. On finishing off Jack and not realizing what was happening with Edward and everything. It's going right for you, Toshiro. So it's getting there for Jack, but it finds you. That's going to be, what's your parry?
It is an 8.
Okay, so without a raise. So that's going to be hit without a raise. Let's do the damage. Oof. 20.
All right, I better soak again.
Okay, so that's going to be at 20 with 8. That's going to be 16 is 2 raises. That's 3 raises, right?
My toughness is 7, not 8. So I think you're right. It's still 3 raises.
Yep, 3 raises. So we're looking at a shaken and 2 wounds. You spend that Benny. All right, so it's going to be a shaken and 1 wound. So Tashira, where does that put you right now? You're shaken, and how many wounds you got left?
Just 1 because I soaked all of the first attack.
Gotcha. All right, so let's go ahead and deal out our next round. Saw an ace in there. Of course, it's going to be Edwards.
I'm sure it will be.
All right, so we've got a king to Jack. We got a 6 to Tashiro, who's shaking. We got a 10 to Sebastian, and I told you. Oh, but you got a king under it.
Oh, swell.
And then our monster has got a 7. So that's going to bring me right to the king of clubs. Jack, what are we going to do?
Okay, so can I spend a Benny to remove the shaken and then spend another Benny in the same action?
And what would the other Benny be?
Deal with the devil.
Yeah. Yep, let's do it. So let's spend the Benny. That's going to get rid of that shaking condition.
Get rid of the shaken.
All right. So and then we'll do the other Benny for the deal with the devil. So Jack, you're getting dragged. What happens?
So I'm getting dragged. I just kind of look over to Shiro where he's getting beaten up, and I start to fan the cards out without looking at them. But I'm fanning them so that I can then turn them over. And so for the people who don't know the system, one of my abilities is called Deal with the Devil, where I can go to the mystical hunting grounds and do a battle of wits with a Manitou, and that allows me to cast spells that I would not normally be able to cast. So the spell I am going to cast is a protection on Toshira. And the way this will work is I first roll my gambling. And I do have card sharp, which means I can re-roll this if I need to.
All right, so let's do that first. Let's roll your gambling.
Right. And yes.
You're going to re-roll it.
Yeah, especially because I forgot to put the modifier in there. I'm putting it in this one. And roll.
All right, with that explosion, you get a 9. So that's going to put you with a raise. So what does that give you for cards now?
Let me double check. I think I get 7 cards, if I remember correctly.
So I'm going to go ahead and deal out those 7 cards.
I'm trying to pull up the rules right now. And then what I do is roll $5 plus 1 card for a success or 2 with a raise.
All right. So now you're going to put together your best 5-card poker hand. Is that correct?
Correct. That is correct.
All right. So it looks like you got yourself a pair of 10s.
Okay.
Almost at a straight there.
Yeah, no.
5, 6, 7. Yeah. 4, 5, 6, 7.
Well,
what's the pair of 10s give you?
The pair of 10s gives me 3 power points to spend on my spell.
Is that enough?
Yeah, I believe protection is just 1. I'm double checking now. Yes, protection is just 1. So now I actually have to do the spell casting roll.
Okay.
Because I got enough. If I didn't get enough power points, then I would subtract 1 for each one that I didn't get. So I still subtract the 2. Double check my spell casting is also a D8.
Nice.
And I did not get it, so the spell does not go off.
So I'd be curious, though, Jack. Let's walk through that from a visual standpoint, right? So you're getting dragged. You're pulling your cards out of your belt as you're getting dragged. You see Tashiro getting knocked again by this thing and hit by this thing. As that's happening, what does you casting protection and dealing with the devil look like?
So I just kind of do a quick fan of the top, and I pull it, and I kind of stare at it. And as I'm staring at it, it's almost like some fireflies have raised up out of the grass and start wandering over toward Toshiro, but they don't quite make it before they disappear like fire embers.
And why do you think maybe it fizzled? What happened?
Still too shaken. I mean,
You did
I,
just
I
get
get
clawed.
I get
A
hit by
bit.
a really nasty creature, and then I have to face a Manitou. I'm probably not in the best mindset.
I gotcha. Edward, you're dragging Jack. Jack is now back. Oddly, what Jack seems to be playing cards. But you drag him back into this clearing. It is your action, my friend.
It is my action. So I just took a quick glance at healing, and healing takes time. So I don't think that's going to be a thing that I can do right now.
Okay.
So I think that I'm going to. Hopefully, I still can find my pistol again, and then I'm going to aim at that critter that is hopefully somewhere where I can see it.
You can definitely see it. It's going to be at a -2. So you pull that pistol out and you take a shot.
Actually, no. I think I just want to aim. Can I just hold?
You
and
sure can. So I just got this image. Edward kind of gets the body out there. He's got the gun up there and just tracking as he goes. All right. So we'll leave that aim out there. That takes me to Sebastian with his 10 of clubs.
All right. I'm going to just be like, man, you're a tough one. And fire again.
Let's do it. I'm going to, because of the spreading fire, I'm going to only put you at a -1 on this roll, Sebastian.
All right. Then, -1.
Very nice. That's an 8. So you're going to get that with a raise. Let's add a D6 to that damage. Let's roll them
All
separate.
right.
So do your normal damage and then roll the D6 after that. We'll add them together.
All right. So take that away. 2d8. I don't know why it rolled the extra d6, but
Probably because you still have wild checked.
Yeah, if you
No,
don't
I
take wild
ch-
for damage, it goes.
Yeah.
It'll roll it as wild.
That's all right. So we got 3 damage here, right? Or 4 damage.
Yep.
Plus your D6.
Plus my d6.
All right, so it's going to end up being 6. Again, Sebastian, you can hear this thing. You can hear it hit. You don't hear the noise of the reaction. You don't hear the whelping sound that we saw before. What we do see is it's got you in its sight. So you can see that it's stopped, pulling away from Toshiro, and now you can just see that grass parting like a shark through water, headed right for you, Sebastian.
Well, I got its attention, boys.
You sure did. So this thing breaks through the clearing, and Jack, you're focused on the cards. You're not able to really get a clear sense of just this. All you see is just this blackness. Edward, you've got the aim going. You're watching this thing go, and I don't know if you expected it to be in one place or the other, but it breaks through, and again, just the speed of this thing, it just looks like just this black mass as it cuts into the grass and goes for Sebastian. Oh boy. That was a lot of exploding. So
what is
your
5?
What is your
I like that they
parry of
both ended up at
5?
a 14 anyway.
So that's plus 9.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a shaken with 2 raises. Or no, yeah, shaken with 2. Or that's not the damage roll. That's going to be 2 raises. So it's going to be an additional D6 to the damage.
Right, and it doesn't matter how many raises, you only get 1 extra die, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this will be without the wild, and I'm going to do the D6 separate. And I didn't add the strength to that, so it's going to be 8 plus the strength. Oh boy. So that's 8 plus the strength. That's 20 damage. So that's going to be, what's your toughness?
5.
Toughness of 5. So it's going to be 15 plus 15. So that's going to be a shaken and 3 raises. So shaken and 3 wounds. Sebastian, I assume you're going to try to soak some of it. There's the Benny for the soak. Let's do that vigor roll.
All right.
All right. So that's going to put you at 0 wounds, right? So not -1 yet, right?
Yep.
All right. So you're still up. Well, you're down, but you're not dead. We don't need the incapacitated. But you are shaken, my friend. Toshiro.
Yep.
You, on the other hand, are also shaken.
I'm gonna go for the vigor roll rather than spending the
Now,
Can
if
is-
you roll, you can then spend the Benny if you fail. Is that true?
I believe so. Yes, I don't think it's
Yeah.
either or.
Yeah, but if wait, so I can spend the Benny if I fail and automatically unshake.
Correct, but that's
That's
but
my understanding.
now if you do that though, no, it's immediate. You know, I don't know the answer. Let's go with that, Toshiro. So let's do the roll, and if you fail, you can spend that Benny.
All right.
We'll look it up later.
So I would have failed because I've got a -1 on it due to being wounded. So I will toss in a Benny and go ahead and pass.
All right, so you are no
Um,
longer shaken.
Is the thing still on Sebastian?
It is just streaked past Sebastian. It didn't grab him this time. It did more of that claw type action to you. So you see Sebastian just brought down in a crushing, like it looks like just this arm. It looks you catch what looks like a paw, and it just comes slamming down on Sebastian. Sebastian's on the ground. This thing puts its weight into him and just takes off back into the grass. So you've got this black streak going. With your free action, you can get to this thing if you want to put the sword to it.
Yeah. I'm going to go for it. With my Naginata and try to put some hurt on it.
Okay, just as it's about to break into the grass, you swing the sword.
So I'm sorry, I keep forgetting to put the penalty on there.
So that puts you to 6, right?
That puts me at a 6.
Okay, so you swing the sword, you cut the grass, and you can see that this thing just got past you.
I'm gonna go ahead and use my last Benny to re-roll that. All right.
Wait, why did the 6 miss? Sorry.
The 6 was that's not gonna do it. Its parry was too high.
Oh, its parry's too high. Right.
Yeah, so I'm gonna miss it
then-
again.
Craig, I'm not getting any audio from you.
Yeah, neither am I.
Now you can. Okay,
Yep.
sorry. It's got a little. All right, yep, doesn't matter. Nobody cares why. All right,
So since we've got a quick break, I did look it up. Recover from shaken. This is an instant and may be done at any time, even interrupting another's actions
Nice.
if desired. So
That answers our question. I appreciate you looking that up, Donald.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, Toshiro with a 9 of spades. Queen of spades goes to you, Jack. King of spades to Sebastian. Oh, there's the Joker.
And
But
I
you
do
take-
get to take the Joker.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Nice. All right, so there's the Joker, and ooh, our friend only got the 2 of spades. So a couple things are going to happen here with the Joker. One, when this round finishes, we're going to reshuffle the deck. All of you get a Benny. And Edward, you're going to be at +2 to all your rolls and your damage. And you, same thing as when Jack was before, when he was playing as if he had the Joker, you can go at any time. So you have first option. This thing is
I
cut
can-
through the grass. You see Toshiro's cutting there. You can see him just clearing the way as he slices into that tall hay grass.
So I think I'm gonna take my shot now.
I'm going to put you at no penalty.
Aiming is supposed to take care of like things like the grass penalties and those kind of things. I don't know. And then I get a +2 from the Joker, or we're
Yep,
evened up for-
yep. So you're going to basically do your shooting with a +2.
All right.
Well, hello, explosion. And you have taken no wounds, correct?
I have taken no wounds.
All right, so that's going to be an 8 with a raise. So we're going to roll your damage plus a d6 after that.
Plus
And
another 2, right?
These are also at +2s.
So I'm gonna undo wild 2d6. All those, and then the last d6 can also ace, correct?
Correct. 14. That's going to be 19 damage.
+2.
Oh, sorry,
the
I forgot to
Joker.
add the 2s.
All right, so
or the
20
2.
21 damage. So who knew you were going to be the gunfighter? So as Toshiro slices through this, You catch the shadow. You
Yeah,
see it
I like to think
immediately.
that I catch that glimpse of that spot, right? As the grass cuts free, there's the silhouette pops
Well,
up, and I
and I think I think it meant to stay in the grass, but as it cut left to avoid Tashiro's sword, it kind of grazes and gets within visible range through just a little bit of the grass in the clearing, and you just fire that gun, which you've been itching to do. You've been tracking this thing the whole time, and it fires. You hear the boom, and it wolves, and it just the noise as it comes, and it kind of vanishes back into the grass a little bit farther. King of Spades, Sebastian, you're hurting, buddy.
I am.
This thing just got done crushing you into the ground. You've got blood all over your chest.
First shake roll, which is spirit, right?
Spirit to get rid of the shaking. Yep.
Okay.
All right, so you're able to get your wits about you, Sebastian. You're on the ground. Your rifle's there, still in your hand, but you don't have a grip on it.
Okay. I'll grab for my rifle and come up to one knee and just be like, "I ain't dead yet, you bastard."
And you see Edward has fired this thing, and you can see that the impact of the bullet kind of pushed it deeper in there, but you have no trouble tracking it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be at a -5 total.
Yep.
-3 because of your wounds, and -2 because of your of the grass.
Yep. So that'll be a D8. Crazier things, right? Nope.
All right, so you fire off, trying to keep that gun steady, Sebastian, but you ain't feeling so hot, man. It's hard to get that aim there. Queen of Spades, we're going to Jack.
Okay. So am I going to be at a -4 if I try to range attack it?
You'll be at the -2 from your wounds.
Right.
Plus -2 if you're going to try to shoot into it while it's in the grass. Yep.
Okay. So I am going to try to do basically a 54 card pickup. So I take the deck and I squeeze it, and the cards just do the bridge shuffle type thing out toward it.
Okay.
And I am spending a power point to cast confusion on it.
All righty.
See how this works. And it goes off.
It sure does. And that's going to be at a +6. So it's going to be with a raise. So what happens with confusion with a raise?
So confounds a target, making him both distracted and vulnerable. If he fails a smarts roll, add a -2 with a raise on the arcane skill roll.
Excellent. 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 So, Jack, I'm imagining you do that shuffle. The cards come flying out at you. And I'm thinking like a swarm. What do you think?
Yeah.
So it just kind of swarms around this thing, and you see the cards kind of swarming above it, right? Making it even easier to see this thing. And you can see a kind of a black claw coming up, trying to hit the cards, and the cards are kind of diving in and moving in and out of it. And here's the crazy thing. Jack looks down at his left hand, and miraculously there's a fresh deck of cards there.
I keep plenty of cards in my pockets. So he needs to make a smarts at a -2.
Oh, I do that right now? All right, hold on one second.
I think so. I'll pull the description back up.
All right. So
it says he gets both distracted and vulnerable if he fails a smarts roll with a -2 on a raise.
Oh, I got you. I just assumed I had that. Okay,
yeah.
Good. And then at a -2. All right, so it is definitely distracted.
And vulnerable, right?
And vulnerable, which gives you what's the plus
+2, I believe.
+2 to hit, I think, right?
I think so.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Toshiro.
So
well, if it's
cards,
that seems like a pretty good place to start. I'm going to go at it with the Naginata, and if it's close enough, I'm going to try to bring this thing down or bring it down.
So it has stopped and is confounded by these cards as they fly around, and you just immediately dive in with your sword, and you have no trouble getting to it. Between the cards, all of the grass and everything, you're not quite sure what you're swinging at, but you know where you're swinging. So just remember to put in the minuses for your wounds.
Yes. So just the 1 wound, and then +2 comes out to a +1 total.
Very nice. Let's go ahead and roll the damage.
All right. So that is. I'm assuming, is that on a raise or no?
No raise.
No raise. Oh, that's not good.
I think hell of a theory.
All right. And so then you said it's just +6, but if my strength is a D6.
Correct. Yeah. So it'll be
Yeah.
D6 plus 6.
Okay. And then because it's a well-made weapon, I get another +1.
Nice. All right. So here's.
Oh, that should only be the. I'm sorry, I left the wild on there. So probably just the 3. So total of
3. So 10.
Yeah, 10.
All right. So you slice Toshiro, and as you're cutting through it, you're clearing the grass as you go. You're catching some of the cards too that are kind of spinning around this thing. And as the sword hits the cards, they spark as they slice the cards in half. You can see for the first time, can't tell the form of this thing, but whatever it is, it's got fur and it's pitch black, because as the moonlight and the sparking from the cards go, it kind of lights up at what you're hitting, and you see your sword slice through this thing. You know the blade went in. You know the blade cut. You anticipate blood. You anticipate splatter coming because you have cut things before with this sword. There's no blood that splatters, but you clear this thing and it reacts. Unfortunately, it's too busy with the the cards flying around it, so it's going to do nothing. Let's deal out another round. My God, I think you guys are turning the corner. This is good. This is good.
And we get a shuffle before this one, right?
Oh, that's right.
We
Let's
saw
do
the
that.
Joker.
Hold on a second. So I am going to, whoops, reset the deck. Let's give it a shuffle. I shuffled it twice for you.
Thank you. 7 times.
We're going to deal out our 6 cards because our friendly neighborhood Doc gets 2 of them. This is your round. I can feel it. I saw a Joker in there. Toshiro, Jack with the Joker.
Nice.
Get yourself everybody gets a Benny. Sebastian with the 10. And you end up with a 5. Edward.
Excellent.
Look at that. The 2 of diamonds. For our friend. All right, you guys. So for those of you watching at home, Corey with Toshiro's got 2 bennies. Jack's got 3. Sebastian's got 5. Our friend Edward's got 6 bennies sitting there.
I got to reread what you can spend them on.
Big thing is you can re-roll any skill check you make as long as you didn't go bust.
Yeah, as long as you don't crit fail. Jack, do you want to hold or you want to go with this Joker?
I think I want to go. I want to try to do confusion again.
All right, let's go ahead and try that again. You're going to be at a +2 because you drew the Joker.
Okay. So that puts me at a -2 then, because -2 from wounds, -2 from grass, +2 for Joker.
Got it.
Okay, I'm going to spend a Benny to re-roll that.
All right, let's spend that Benny.
Even worse.
Even worse. All right. What's failed casting look like for this confusion, Jack? Is it the same procedure where you kind of spring the cards?
Yeah, spring the cards, but they just kind of blow up in my hand, blow out in my hand and fall to the ground at my feet versus actually going out.
A terrible trick, Jack.
Yeah.
Sebastian. Where are we, my friend? Staggering.
Probably trying to I see where the beast is, and I'm just like, this isn't how I end. This is how you end. This isn't how I end. And I'm gonna take another shot.
Make sure you put in your negatives for your wounds. So you're at -3, then -2.
Yep. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and spend a Benny to re-roll that.
All right. Hey, McBluff, that's really kind of you to gift off those subs, man. Appreciate that. You don't want to stay with the 0, Sebastian? Damn.
That was so close to being an 8.
That's the problem with the 3D dice, is that you get superstitious about it, just like before. So I'm really trying to get a sense, Sebastian. I mean, you've gotten cut. There's blood just pouring from your torso. Your clothes are just soaked with the blood from your chest wound. You've got the rifle. You've been firing it, and what the hell's going on right now for Sebastian?
He doesn't want to die, and Sebastian has another hindrance, womp womp, called arrogant. So he has to go after the biggest, baddest baddie he can, no matter what.
I love it.
And he refuses to believe that this is the end of his story. This is the first chapter. This is where it starts.
I love it. Toshiro, you cut this thing. It didn't bleed, but you cut it.
I mean, I think if it wasn't bleeding when I cut it, that probably just means I didn't cut it well enough, and I just need to go again.
All right. Make sure you put in your negatives for your wounds.
All right. So that should cancel out with my trademark weapon.
Yep.
All right.
All right. So this time you do.
I think I'm gonna.
You're gonna Benny it.
I'm gonna Benny it. Yeah. Yeah. We're so close to getting this thing.
So you slice this thing, and by the time that you take that second swipe at it, it's pushed itself into the grass again, and spooked by the gunshots that you hear firing from Sebastian over your back left, and it kind of takes off into the grass again. You're able to track it. You're not sure where it's headed. Edward, the gunslinger.
So I mean, do I at least have a sense of where it is?
You sure do. In fact, I'm imagining there's still a couple cards of Jack's kind of following it from above.
All right, and so I'll be at a -2 now.
You will.
All right, then I'm gonna keep on keeping on and take another wild shot at it
With your D4 shooting?
with my D4 shooting.
You spend one of your 15 bennies?
Spend one of my bennies.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't because it's both ones.
Oh,
I
it's a
can't
crit
spend my
fail.
benny. See that? Succeed or can't spend bennies.
Yeah,
the
so
way
that's
I
a crit
roll.
fail. I didn't even recognize that. That was 2 1s. So that's how you crit fail in this game as a wild card, as you roll a 1 on both die. Ooh.
I think that's me.
Yeah,
Done.
but I'm not done with this crit fail,
Okay.
Edward.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you fire the shot, and is it safe to say Edward's never shot this gun 3 times in a row?
I feel like that's probably safe to say.
And I think the third shot you fire, and like your hand is getting the shakes, right? Anybody who's fired a gun, you fire a couple shots at, and trying to deal with the recoil and everything can really affect the fatigue on the hand. And you fire it this time, and it falls. The gun drops to your feet.
Excellent.
All right, so this thing is 180, and it does not like being cut, Toshiro. It 180s comes back at Toshiro. Let me roll its. I got to roll its wild die. And what is your parry?
It is an 8.
All right, so this thing comes at you, Toshiro, and I don't know, maybe you got your footing under you a little bit. So you see it coming again. Just imagine that image of just like the grass parting as it comes towards you. How do you avoid getting hit by this thing?
I think he takes a wide-legged stance and just sort of, since he sees it coming, he's actually able to sort of redirect it when it comes, and just sort of turns it away from him. So it just slides off of him, basically, off of his weapon.
Excellent. All right. Because of our Joker, I'm reshuffling the deck. Let's go to our next round. Toshiro with the 6. Jack with the 8. Sebastian with the 10. Edward with the deuce. Against another deuce.
Nice.
And So
he had to get a good card sometime.
yeah, Toshiro, it's running past you, and it's swiping with its claw, and you're able to dodge out of it, and it stops, and it's going to go with its mouth. So this time, for the first time, as you're trying to piece together everything with the grass and everything, you see the white teeth, and it's just a maw that's opening up, and it's kind of going for your shoulder and arm.
So I don't think we've mentioned that because this is based on poker, ace is high, not low. Correct?
Yes.
All right, so that's going to be a 15. What's your parry? Your parry's 8.
My parry is 8.
All right, so that's going to be with just one raise.
Wait.
Oh, wait, I should not have added that 12. That's to the damage.
Yeah, you got to hit first, man.
Yeah, hold on. I do get a wild die, though. All right. So I don't know why I gave it the +7. You're able to dodge this thing again, Toshiro. So it comes past. You dodge out of it. It comes with its claw. It comes to snap with this huge claw. And what do?
I think he just reflexively steps back and it just snaps basically right in front of his face.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm going to go to my iron-legged Sebastian.
So, at this point, we're kind of around our campfire. I'm going to look down on the rifle and be like, you're not doing much for me, buddy. And I'm going to hobble over to where my pack is and pull my double-barreled shotgun out and turn it on him.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and let that be a free action for you, Sebastian. You pull that shotgun out.
Yep.
And that's going to be at the -2 plus the -3, so -5 all day.
Yep.
For those of you playing at home, this is called a death spiral.
And I am firing both barrels at once.
Got it. Do you roll for them individually?
No. So you roll for it. I'll spend a Benny to re-roll because I have to do something here eventually.
Yeah, we need some explosions. Let's make that happen.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Nope.
Damn it. So you fire that shotgun off.
Yeah.
Into it. The good news is between the sword and the shotgun, the clearing's getting bigger. We're starting to clear out some of this grass.
And the fire.
And the fire. So let's go to Jack. Jack, we've got you tried to do that confusion. The cards kind of just they didn't do what you willed them to do. You see Toshiro slicing at this thing. Poor Sebastian's trying to fire it. Edward dropped his gun.
Okay. I'm going to spend a Benny. And we're going to deal with the devil.
All right. Let's do your gambling roll.
Okay.
Ooh, look at that.
Okay.
So it's going to put you at
the raise.
8. That gives you with one raise. How many cards?
That gives me the 7 cards.
7 cards again. All right.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at these. All right. So we've got a 5, an ace, a king, a 9, a 4, and a 7, and a jack. That puts us at ace high, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's ace high. Give me 1 second. So ace high is 2 power points.
All right.
Go. Entangle. So entangle requires 2 power points. So
perfect.
I only get the modifiers for the wounds.
All right, let's give it a try. There we go.
All right. So with a 6, the grass starts wrapping around this creature,
Nice.
and he is entangled.
All right. Do I get to do a smarts roll to avoid that?
No, victims
Okay.
may break free on their turn as detailed under Bound and Entangled on page 98. So while you
Beautiful.
continue, I will go look up page 98.
You're a good man.
Hey, Donald.
Yeah,
Do you mind if can I make one suggestion about the trappings?
sure.
Craig, you'd mentioned some of the cards were still following. Do you suppose those stopped and just dove into the ground?
Oh, I love
May
that.
have.
And it,
Yeah.
and ignited life into the grass.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Nice.
That's great. Love it. All right. Idea man Toshiro, what you got?
My best idea is to go stab the thing that's tangled now. So
That seems like a good idea.
yeah.
And by the way, if this matters, Entangled does say the victim can't move and is distracted as long as he remains so.
Got it.
Okay. So distracted doesn't give me a bonus, as I recall.
Correct.
It's only vulnerable.
Right. But he'd be at a negative.
There's an explode.
Oh.
All right. What's your minus?
That cancels out because of my
Because you're
trademark
sword, right?
weapon.
Because you got the one wound, so that's a 7. So it's going to be a slice and a miss for you, Toshiro, as you see the grass kind of entangling and kind of growing around this black mass. And I mean, the adrenaline of this is raging for all of you, and you're trying to piece this all together. And there's this desire that is burning in the back as you're trying to work through this panel. Like, what the hell is this thing, and what the hell does this thing look like? Some of you got a sense of fur. Some of you got a sense of this huge claw. Some of you have seen teeth. Edward, gun on the ground, hand shaking.
I suspect I'm gonna make my best effort to pick up that gun
All right, you pick it up.
again. And if I still have an action, I'm gonna try to shoot it again.
Let's shoot it. It's going to be -2.
-2.
All right, you
Now
fire.
I'm gonna spend my Benny
That's
because I
right.
didn't crit fail.
All right, so that's going to put you at 5 bennies.
And I just basically do the same thing again.
That's a hit, my friend.
Just enough.
It is. Let's roll that damage. Look at that. Everybody just take D4 and shooting. That's how you hit things. That's
Certainly
D8.
not having to deal with that parry is
Yeah.
real.
All right, so you
Yeah.
can hear that bullet hit, Edward. You don't hear a reaction from it, but you can hear the thump as it hits the body itself. All right, let's deal out these cards.
That thing's sitting on what, 9? Is 9 the number we're looking at right now? 9 plus?
You don't know.
Somewhere in that range?
Toshiro with the jack. Look at our card sharp with an ace. A hearts to Sabat. Look at these are some nice. Yeah, look at the 6 is what you end up with, Edward. And then he gets a 10. Or it gets a 10, I should say. All right, let's go to our magician. Mr. Hoyle's student.
Okay. Let's see if maybe the grass will help with the confusion. So do I still get the -2 from the long grass, or
You do.
okay?
And then the -1 from the wounds.
Yeah. So it's minus. I've got 2 wounds, so -2 from the wounds,
Gotcha.
-2 from the grass. And don't get it.
All right, you got a Benny you want to spend?
Nah, better hold the Benny.
All right, so you're trying to collect that energy, trying to
Yeah.
collect that mana, Jack, and it's just not coming together for you. Sebastian, shotgun in hand.
Okay. Well, I guess. Oh,
You need to reload.
I do not believe shotguns have a reload on them.
No kidding.
They're weird. Let me double check that
like
for
that.
you.
Let's assume it doesn't. Go. We'll look
Okay.
it up later. Go ahead.
So I guess it crack it open and 2 new
Yep.
shells, and we'll take the shot again.
All right, let's do it. Let's put in your negatives. The -2 for the conditions, and the -3 for your wounds. Look at you.
6.
Because of the explosion, you threw the -5. We end up with a 6. You hit. Let's roll some damage.
All right. So is so this would be range 12 inches, which I forget how many feet that is. Would this be in short range of me?
12 inches is going to be 24, roughly 24 yards. So you're good.
Okay. So that means I get 3d6 on the damage.
All right. And it won't be the wild, but you will ace before you put the 3d6 in.
And I also get +4 on it because I unloaded both barrels.
All right.
So
12 damage. You fire both barrels off. Tashira, this is happening right next to you. You see the grass wrapped around it. You can see the shotgun hit it. And is it hitting the front of it? Is it hitting the back of it? It's hard to tell. And you can see the shells impacting the fur and the fur splitting as it happens. No blood, no splattering. You just hear a screech come from it. The white teeth. You now realize it hit the hind section of the white teeth glaring in to the moon itself. Tashira, you're seeing all of this happen. What are you doing?
Is there some sort of burning embers or something nearby that I can grab? Because if it's entangled in the dry grass,
I'm imagining the fire's a little bit farther away because I haven't made a part of what's happening. That might change as we move forward, but right now I don't have any fire real close to you. If you want to head back to the clearing and get yourself set up for next round.
Would he be closer to that fire?
Oh, look at you. Yes, you can spend a Benny. So you spend that Benny, Tashira, and within a free action, you can see the fire is starting to move towards you. So yeah, you see the fire.
okay, yeah, I'd like to grab just something that is burning, just even some stalks of burning grass.
Yep.
And because it is tangled up in the grass strands, I'd like to put it to it so that all of that catches on fire on top of it.
Beautiful. So you grab a handful of that hay and you've got essentially like what is that called? The bound of faggot? Is that what they call it? With like when you have wrapped the wrapped grass, and you've got it as this impromptu torch. And let's have you use your fighting, man.
All right.
All right, so you're 6, and what's your and we're only going to be looking for a 4 on this because you're not swinging at him.
Okay, then yeah, so it'd be a 5 with my wound penalty.
So you take that thing and you just immediately are just right in front of you, just swiping it left and right in front of you to try to catch that grass that's wrapped itself around this monster, and it starts to have on fire, and you can hear like a panic noise for the first time coming from this as the flames start to work up on Jack's entanglements. Edward?
I think this is the 5th.
Or no. It's me. Sorry.
Oh,
at 10.
You're good, man.
Yep. Sorry. All right. And what do I need to choose to get?
Strength -2 or athletics. Victim's choice.
We're gonna do the strength -2.
It's not shocking.
All right. So he breaks free from this thing, and the fire's all around it. You see it dart off from the fire, so pushing away from the fire, and it heads out into the grass itself. We got a fresh round.
No, I get to go.
Oh, you get to. Oh, fine, Edward, you get to go.
Wildly shooting into the night is what I'm doing.
All right,
am I still at a -2.
We're gonna actually make this a -3 because of distance.
Better.
Which on a D4, you're good. You're fine.
Exactly. I
All
only
right,
need to explode twice.
You fire blindly into the grasslands as you go. Lots of low cards, but I think everybody got low cards. Oh no, boy, Jack gets some pretty good initiative cards, man.
I need to be redealt.
Yep. All right, and let's go ahead and get you a fresh one. Much better. I put you first, Sebastian.
All right. So he's darted back out into the grass.
Yes, he's darted back out in the grass.
All right.
He's at medium distance now.
Okay. Ugh.
Let's go.
Yeah. I guess I'll just take another shot with the double barrel.
Let's do it.
See what happens.
Let's do that at the -1, and I gotta remember the distances. The medium distance gives that give you another -1.
Yeah,
Let's
probably.
see. Another -2 actually.
Oh. Nope.
All right, so you fire off into this thing as it is taken off. Let's go to Jack.
Okay. So, you know what? If it seems like it's maybe finally running away, I'm just going to hold my action and see if it turns around.
Is there a holding in Savage Worlds? I don't believe there is.
I haven't.
I could
Okay.
be wrong though.
Well, I mean, I'm okay with wasting my action this turn now because anything I try to do is just going to drop back, and I'd rather not do that.
Yeah, your chances of hitting something are low, and the chances of this backfiring in your face are higher, right? All right, so it takes its action. You see it going. You see it stop, and then you lose track of it. So all the parting in the grass and where you're kind of tracking it, the darkness and everything, it's now you've lost complete track of it at this point. Toshiro?
Yeah, I'm going to make my way back to the camp, and just stand guard around
All
everybody
right.
else.
All right, Edward?
I have no idea where it is.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to reload my pistol.
That's very smart. So you start loading bullets back into the pistol?
Yes.
I like it.
And I don't remember exactly how that works.
It'll take
Takes
a
an
round.
action per bullet if you don't have a speed loader.
Okay. And I get 2 actions on the turn, so I can do 2
Yep.
for the turn. Solid. I could imagine him being a little slow at this too. This gun is definitely new.
Still got the tag on the handle.
Exactly. It's still very shiny.
That's phenomenal. like the sticker is the price sticker is starting to peel from the heat of the gun. So you guys lose track of this. We see Edwards starting to load the bullets. Toshiro, you work your way back into the middle. You just see the bleeding happening on Sebastian. You see Jack with his cards. Everybody, just the shock and the fear on everybody's face as it breaks through the grass again. And my God, it looks bigger. And we all know who it's heading for.
For clarity, he has the minor version, and it's not a guarantee.
Thank you. I was thinking that too.
It breaks through the through the grass, heads immediately for our trouble magnet, Jack. Jack, what is your parry?
Parry's a 4.
Your parry's a 4, so that is going to be a +6. So that's going to be a 1 raise, so it's going to get an extra D6 to the damage. This is the first roll.
Oh,
Why did it roll 2 of them?
because it exploded.
Yeah.
Oh, it
12.
sure did. Okay, that's 26 plus the D6. It's 28. What's your
Toughness is a 5.
all right, so that is going
Wow.
to be, oh
And
my
I'll
God, that's
spend
28 minus 5. That's 23.
5 raises.
That's 5 raises. So that's right
spend the
now a
last-
shaken
I'll
and
go
4
ahead.
wounds.
I'll go ahead and spend the last of my pennies just to See if I can do anything. Probably not, but you never know.
Oh,
Not with a crit fail.
oh my God. So so now you're going to have to do, hold on. Because this is going to put you at the negative.
Yeah, it's going to put me at
All right.
negative, like
negative,
Below the
negative.
-1.
All right. So this is now we got to do an incapacitated, right, Eric?
Yep.
All right. So
okay, so
that is going to be,
I am effectively at 8 wounds. If I take 6 just now.
No, you don't
Okay.
take 6 wounds. You took 4.
4? Okay.
Yeah.
I took 4. Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm
So
only at 6 wounds right now.
all right. So I need a -4 vigor roll.
Nope.
All right. So that is going to be a failure. Give me 2d6 for the injury table. And you are bleeding out and
And I turn off both the wild and the ace for this, right?
correct, sir.
Good. 3.
All right, here's what happens. For 1 second, there's like a half beat of, oh my God, is this thing running away? And none of you hear it coming. It breaks through, comes right at Jack. Now you can tell. Now you can tell this is some sort of panther type, dog type, wolf type something. You can't get a full view of the face. And unfortunately, the only thing that Jack sees from the face is the mouth. You see this thing come, and as Jack has got his cards up, just reflexively, Jack kind of pulls his arm back, and it comes and it takes Jack by the arm. It drags him into the grass. Jack, you look to your right and you can just see this thing chomping on your arm. You drop the cards in your right hand as it does this, and it's dragging you by the arm, and you don't feel your arm anymore. You just see the blood as it comes up on your shoulder, and it drops you down to the ground. You are bleeding out. Your right hand is useless. You can't move it. You can't do anything. You're not even sure if it's fully attached at this point. Reflexively, your left hand goes over your arm as you try to hold it. And it's not stopping the blood, Jack. You just see the blood go through. You just can't cover it. You can't cover all of it as this thing just turns and it gives you, and then heads right back to the clearing.
Already?
We go right to Jack. All right. So continuing on. All right. So characters cannot take actions and might be unconscious. GM's called the can make a vigor roll each day thereafter and is no longer incapacitated. I'm having you semi-conscious, Jack, but unfortunately you're out for a little bit here, bud.
That's fine. Since I'm out, I'm going to step away for 1 moment, and I'll be right back.
All right. Don't be gone too long.
I won't be.
All right. Sebastian.
So it's coming back towards us.
It's definitely coming back towards you. You have no trouble seeing it. You see the grass part, and the shock of all of it is made you step back. But and Jack, all you guys know, the three of you, is Jack is gone.
Mm-hmm. Right now, at this point, I'm just in a rage, so I'm gonna try and blast her again.
All right, let's do it.
Am I -5 or -7 for this one?
Let's only do the -1 because it's heading towards you. You have no trouble spotting it, so let's only do the -1 for the cover.
Okay, so that'd be -4 altogether.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, you're firing at this thing as it's coming. Not real clear whether you're missing it or it's not close enough to really take the impact of the shot, but it's headed directly towards you.
All right.
Let's see. Right now, Sebastian, you got 3 bennies if you want to re-roll, or are you saving them for soaps?
Let's re-roll that. Let's see what happens.
Let's go ahead and spend a benny so I can see my fancy chip flip.
Yeah. There you go.
Get my full foundry value out of this.
Yeah.
All right, so we're heading right directly to Toshiro. Toshiro, this thing is turned. It's taken Jack, and hey, Jack may have caused a whole bunch of tussle on that train earlier today, but I don't know if he deserved what just happened to him. So it's headed back towards you.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to take the bull or whatever it is by the horns or teeth or whatever, and just charge it with the naginata.
So as Tashiro's headed directly to meet this thing, right? You're not waiting for this thing to come. You're going to meet this thing, sword in hand. You're rushing in. I have to ask: does Tashiro think he has a chance, or is he just true desperate at this point, as he's charging towards whatever this is?
No, he's. I think he's trying to buy time for Edward and Sebastian to get out. And he's seen it miss him a couple of times, so he thinks he might be able to buy them precious few seconds to get away.
Love it. Let's do it.
I'm going to use the last Benny.
All right. And you're at a -1 still, but it's evened out by your sword, right?
It is.
So it's flat. Damn it.
That's
a crit.
No.
That's a crit. So what, Tashiro, you swing at this thing, and did it hit? I don't know. I mean, it's really tough to tell. What you do know is it bowls you over. So it knocks right into you and is just not interested in you right now, and just knocks you and just continues on past you. You're flat on your back and you just see darkness passing over you as it goes over you. The sword, it's not in your hand anymore. You're desperately reaching with your hand looking for it. Edward, this thing breaks through again. What are we doing?
I am still reloading anxiously and frantically.
Okay.
And so that should be 2 more rounds for this turn.
Okay. Why do I imagine
buy a
like
speed loader? Who needs a speed loader?
and why am I imagining like for every bullet you get in the chamber, there's 3 that are falling?
Right, exactly, right. You can imagine that he had to fish them all out, and then he's like sitting here, dropping bullets everywhere, and he's got 4 in right now, so he's got 1 more round of reloading to go.
All right. Now, do I deal Jack in? I don't think I do I?
Not if he can't participate anymore.
All right. So that is going to give the Joker to Sebastian. Edward gets the queen.
I'll get the 9.
Actually, Edward gets the 9. And that gives us, whoops, don't know why that happened. And then a 6 here. And that 5 we're just going to throw away. All right, Sebastian. Everybody get a Benny?
Yeah. All right. So,
including Jack. And you're a +2, Sebastian.
Yep.
This thing is out of cover now. It is broken through into the clearing, so you're not going to get a -2.
All right. So I'm just going to once again crack the barrel, shove 2 more shells in, and standing close to it, just be like, "You got to die eventually, you son of a bitch."
All right. So Sebastian, you're at how many wounds?
3.
All right. So you're going to end up with just a net -1 with the +2 from the Joker.
Okay.
There's an explode.
So
it's going to be with a raise. So roll your damage and then roll your D6 separate from it.
All right. So that'll be 3d6 damage. I forgot to turn the wild die off on that one, so
you just clear it out and do it again.
Okay. Okay. So that will be 3d6 plus 4 because of the double barrel.
+1 for your Grim Servant of Death, plus another 2 for the Joker.
Yep. Oh, yep. All right, so we're at +7 altogether. And this is where it's going to get fun. So these 3 roll. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I get 1 more D6 for the raise. Roll that. 5. So that would be 31 damage.
30.
However, because I have dead shot, whenever I'm dealt a Joker, it doubles my damage.
Whoa!
60, 62 damage. This thing lunges through the grass, piling through. We don't know where Jack is. Toshiro's on the ground, just bowled over by this thing. You break through. You see this thing break through. Sebastian, your legs are weak. Fire, fire. Both shotgun shells go. The first bullet slug hits. Second slug hits. You see some fur fly. You see its body react to it. But all it does is stop, look at you in the eyes, and you see burning fire come from its eyes.
Cool, cool.
Oh.
Edward, it's you.
So
No.
I'm gonna load those last 2 bullets for my 2 action strikes.
All right, you lock those 2 bullets. Toshiro,
So
you're on the ground. You're not shaking though.
Tashiro's gonna pull out his backup weapon and just run at the thing again, and I think try to jump onto its back.
Okay. And again, you've got just this hulking beast, right, on 4 legs. I mean, as best as you can tell, it's at least 5 foot on 4 legs. What you can't see is the head. You guys just are unable to get a clear sense of what this thing is. So let's do a fighting roll.
All right.
Holy crap. So a 19's good. That's 2
Well,
raises.
I'm sorry. It's an 18. I forgot the.
Okay. So
because I'm
18.
using my backup.
Then still 2 raises.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, I'm trying to get onto its back, so like it can't, so that it's trying to get me off.
Got it. So you jump on this thing. You jump on its back. You've got your what is your backup weapon?
So the main weapon is the spear, is my naginata. My backup weapon is actually the sword. The
Oh, I've been
katana.
saying about the sword. You got to correct me of that stuff, dude. So now
Sorry.
you got the sword after you lost track of the spear nobody knew you had because I kept messing it up. You're on top of this thing with the sword. This thing is not happy about that at all. So what I'm going to have it do is first try to get rid of you. And it's going to do that with its fighting roll. What is your parry?
9, or I'm sorry, not 9, 7.
7.
Without the spear.
All right.
Yeah.
So this thing is able to shake you. And it's almost a rearing up and a flexing back of its muscles as you fall back. And I am going to let it attack you. Not able to get there. You roll out of the way as it's just the paw claw just comes pounding down. You roll away as it pumps into the sand, and just kind of the dirt and the dust kind of come up. All right, we had a Joker in there, didn't we? So we got to reset.
Mm-hmm.
Shuffle. Dealing 5 cards.
Hey guys, after we did 62 damage, I'm not feeling too good about this one.
He's got to be on his last one right now. This is it. He's almost done. He's seeing his phase, right?
All right, the other card was an 8, by the way. Oh, shit, you've got a 4, and it's got a 5. I deleted the wrong card by mistake. So, Benny, for everybody, Toshiro, you're at a +2. You're on the ground. This thing whumped and tried to hit you.
Yeah, I think Toshiro is quietly thinking to himself, or is using very strong language, particularly about Sebastian and not staying on the train. And he's just going to charge at it with the sword, I guess.
Let's do it. Don't forget
So-
to put in your negatives to your rolls.
Got it this time.
Craig,
Yes, Jack.
I'm looking at the bleeding out rules, and it mentions the injured character is dying and must make a vigor roll at the start of his turn.
Oh, so we should deal you in, Jack.
Yeah.
So we'll
So
we'll stave you here for this round.
Okay.
And we'll just have you go last if that's all right with you on this.
That's fine.
Okay, great. Thank you for looking that up, Donald.
Yeah.
All
right.
So I got a 5. I'm going to go ahead and Benny that.
All right, let's spend that, Benny. All right, that's gonna be a connect without a raise. Let's do damage.
All right.
And I know they don't know where I am, but
Sorry.
for future, you can spend an action stabilizing somebody.
Yeah, that was my thought. I'll talk about that at my turn.
Sure.
So yeah, just the 15, not the 5 on there.
Gotcha. So you slice this thing, and you slice it all across the body, and again, just it's hard to understand what's going on right now because you slice this thing, you feel the resistance as your blade gets into this body. It's flesh. You can tell it's flesh by how hard the resistance is as it's coming through. It reacts. You see the fire eyes turning to you as it happens, but there is no blood. That is going to go to Sebastian. Sebastian, you hit this thing point blank.
Yeah.
You hit this thing point blank, and it looks like the only thing it did is made it matter.
Guys, I think its weakness is love.
Let's hold hands.
The power of song is really where we're at.
I mean, I'm at a loss here, but
Well,
I'm
what
just
would
gonna
Sebastian do in this situation, man? After he's gone through all of this, he's seen this happen. He sees Toshiro cutting this thing,
Yeah.
and it ain't bleeding. And I mean, how many? It's been shot 8 times now, at least.
Yeah. I'm just
can
gonna
I-
go, boys. I'll hold it off as long as possible. Find Jack's body, and I'll raise my gun again and try and draw it towards me.
Let's do it.
All right, so there's that. -3. Any other minuses right now?
Nope. The
Okay.
fire of the eyes are obscuring the face. You're unclear what this face thing looks like.
Mhm,
You're staring at the fire, but boy, that makes the shot a little bit easier.
mhm.
Point blank again.
Yeah.
All right. Even
6.
even with your negatives. Not a raise, but that is a hit. Let's do the damage. That's going to be the 3d6.
Yep. That could have been better.
All right.
13.
It fires you. The eyes close. You see the eyes close. You see it react, and they come back, and what was orangish red now is just blazing. So you just see fire just blazing out from the left and the right as it gets larger. Edward.
My thinking is that do I have a sense of where Jack went down?
Let's take a look here. The answer is yes, you do, but I don't think you know exactly where he is.
And
I'm willing to do a smarts roll unless you've got a skill that applies.
Would notice possibly apply for?
I
looking
think
for it?
notice would definitely apply. So let's do a notice unless there's something better for you.
well, smarts is way better for me.
I want you to do a smarts because it's you piecing together all of the action, Edward.
Okay. So I will.
So it's
take
not a matter of you noticing where he is. It's a matter of you figuring out where he is. Does that make sense?
That makes sense to me. So that is this. Do you need any negatives or positives on that?
I do not, sir. Go.
Oh, I'm going to spend a penny.
You still got 6 of the damn things. Now you're down to 5.
I spent them. You just flip nothing but jokers.
He has the edge Benny magnet.
All right, so that's an 8.
You dart through the grass trying to figure out exactly where Jack is, and you almost trip over him. What are
And
you going to do?
If that's one of my 2, then I'll spend the other to try to stabilize him.
All right.
And if I remember that right, that's healing.
Mm-hmm. Don't crit fail this.
You shouldn't put those kind of things out there. And I, can we say that I brought my medical kit with me?
For a Benny, I will.
You know what? I'll spend that, Benny.
Gotta suck those out of you somehow.
And if I remember right, I think that gives me a bonus, but I don't remember exactly how much it is.
Let's make it a +2.
All right.
And you just need you. All right. So, Donald, once you're stabilized, what's that mean? Does the bleeding out stop?
Yeah.
You don't need to do the vigor rolls?
Nope. The healing power. Ron. May stop a victim's bleeding by make a healing roll. This is an action, and if successful, the patient is stabilized. So.
But it doesn't restore any wounds, right?
Right. I don't see anything but restoring wounds.
All right.
It just stops because the bleeding out is you make a vigor roll. If you fail it, you die.
Got it.
If you succeed, you have to keep making them, and if you succeed with a raise, you stabilize and you stop making them.
Look at Edward saving a life. Look at that.
Huh?
So I mean, I almost think you have to a certain degree, tourniquet as you're wrapping this arm, right?
Yeah.
Jack still does not have use of this arm. Toshiro, Sebastian, a 6, losing the 7 to Edward, and a 4 to our beast, which is now in the middle, ready to go. It's going to go with Sebastian. Sebastian, you're trying to stall this thing. Try to get its attention. You keep unloading bullets into the thing, and the only thing it's doing is making it matter.
Mm-hmm.
Edward's vanished. It's just you and Toshio right now.
Yeah. At this point, I'm going to look at my shotgun and be like, and throw it to the ground because I have more shells for it, but not in my vest pockets.
Yep.
And I'm going to look around and I guess I'm going to die for my rifle again.
All right, let's do an athletics check or an agility.
Okay. Athletics.
You have athletics. What's your athletics?
D6.
Let's do it. It'll be at the -3 because of the wounds.
Yeah. That didn't roll well.
All right, you lunge for the gun. You get to the gun, Sebastian, but not in such a way that you're going to be able to take an action with it this turn. Do you want to do something else while you're down there?
I'm just not really. I'm just gonna try and
Toshiro? You see Sebastian dive for the gun. He's on the ground. You see that he's got the gun around it. This thing is focused on Sebastian. It's not paying attention to you.
So since it's got its back to me, tell sort of where its legs are. I know it's a big black mass for the most part.
So how do I explain this? It's less that you see where its legs are, but you know where the legs should be. Right. So you're kind of piecing it together. You're not really sure whether you see the legs or whether your mind is just putting the legs there. So yes, as far as you're aware, like you can see where those legs are.
Okay. I'm going to make, I'm not entirely sure how to do this, but I'd like to make a called shot for the leg with the intention of just slowing it down.
So the called shot for the leg is going to be at a negative.
-4, I believe.
I think it is -4.
So a total of -5 with my
Yep,
wound.
let's do it.
All right. Yeah,
So
this is worth the last penny. I'm doing it.
Dun, 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 dun! That's an explode.
Oh no, his parry. His parry is higher than that. Never mind.
So you slice. You think you think you're going where the leg is. It's not where the leg is. Edward, you've stabilized Jack. You're over Jack. You realize as Jack is like semi-conscious, he's laying there. He's still bleeding, but you've stopped it. You hear shotgun shells just exploding from Sebastian's gun coming from the campfire.
Like, there's no way that I can like drag him away. There's no way that's gonna work. So I think I'm gonna, from my new vantage, take another shot at this thing.
It's going to be a -2 from where you are. Let's do it. All right. So here's what we're going to do, because I think we've kind of figured out what's happening. We've got Jack on the ground, and I'm going to montage this. Edward takes some shots. The shots don't hit. He starts heading back towards the middle. Toshiro is slicing his sword. Sebastian's got his rifle. He stands up. The beast comes, and it lands on top of you, Sebastian, and it rips into your chest. You see the mouth come in. You see the bone from your rib cage pop as it comes, and you black out. Toshiro, you see this thing just feeding, going in on Sebastian. You're slicing your sword left and right. It finally comes with a claw and just a crushing blow as it comes down, breaking your shoulder. You feel your shoulder break. You feel the tears and the cuts and the bleeding. And you're trying to stay conscious. You're trying to see as this thing heads back into the tall grass, and you go dark. Edward, as you're heading in, trying to find out what's happening, that's when it takes you, and it leaps on top of you, crushing you on top, and it takes your leg, and it just starts dragging you through the grass, pulling you through the grass, and you're trying to grab things as you're going, and you're pulling, and this thing is tearing at you, and you can see as your leg starts to separate at the knee, and you're not quite sure what's going to happen, but you black out as well. As the camera goes, it pulls back from everything that happened to Edward. It cuts to Jack, continuing to bleed. It's just the pain takes over him. We see the blood for each 4 of you soaking into the ground. Sebastian wakes up first. Sebastian, you look down, there's blood all over your clothes. Your shirt is tore open. And you put your hand on your chest, and there's no cuts, no wounds. The blood is there. The blood is yours. Toshiro, the crushed shoulder. The clothes have been ripped off as you start to wake. And the clothes are there. All of the tear across your chest. The blood is all there, but you feel, and yeah, there's some scratches, like a cat or maybe a rose bush went across your chest. Jack, you can feel your hand as you wake up. You squeeze it like this. And when you look down, you pull the wrappings that Edward put on top of you, you pull them away. And yeah, your jacket and your clothes and your shirt, all of that is torn away. But you're looking at your arm, and there's some bruising. And Edward, you're trying to piece this all together as you stand up. Everything says everything that just happened. There's fire burning in the grasslands. Your clothes show that you just got attacked by this beast. But your physical body doesn't do it. Anybody who's below 3 bennies, go up to 3 bennies for me. Anybody who has wounds, restore them back to 3. Edward,
the camp-
you look around over the grasslands just instinctively, right? Trying to see if you can see this thing. If it like, what the fuck is going on right now? You feel okay. You look like hell.
Is the campfire still there?
The campfire's still there, and that's not all that's there. As each of you stand up, it looks to be about a quarter mile away. There's a town, or at least a collection of buildings. And it sure as hell wasn't there 5 minutes ago. Let's cut to
Freaking
break. When we get back from
Manitou.
the break, we're going to see what happens. We'll be right back. Welcome back. As we come back from commercial, we can see all four of our wild cards standing, looking at their clothes, seeing the scratches and bruises that doesn't match up to all of the blood and all of the tears. By the moonlight, they can see what looks like a small town about a quarter mile away, kind of down the plains a little bit, as best you can tell from where you are, because you're a little bit higher than the town. It's almost in this valley, which, by the way, I don't remember seeing a valley on the way in. Looks to be maybe about eight buildings, maybe about 6 or 7 houses around those buildings. Jack?
So Jack takes the deck that he had in his hand, tosses it in the campfire, and goes, freaking Manitou.
And it sparks and turns like a blue purple as it burns that deck up, Jack.
Yeah. Hey, Doc. Don't mean to be pointing out the obvious here, but shouldn't we all be standing in front of the pearly gates right about now?
That seems like it should be true. And as I pat myself over and give myself a once over, I'm gonna start with Jack, who I knew. I think I'm actually. Oh no, I'm no longer standing over him. I was drug away.
But you turn around,
whoever's-
Edward, and you see Jack standing there. It's like, what the?
right. And so whomever's closest, I'm gonna come take a look at, because I know they all, we're not doing well.
So right there with you is Toshiro and Sebastian. And Jack, I'm imagining you heading towards where everybody else is at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
So
coming
Jack,
over so I can-
Yep. So you're headed that way, Jack. So Sebastian and Toshiro are both there. You saw them both. Probably the most violent death was Sebastian's, but they're both close to you, Edward.
And so I think I'm gonna try to at least give him, a medical look over to see if
I need
how this could possibly be true.
first. Let's do a medic roll, and as you're looking over him, you feel the wetness on the back of your head, and you hear the rumbles as the moon vanishes behind clouds and it starts to rain. Let's do our medical roll.
And that's gonna be healing, right?
Yep.
And what did I say my healing was? It is a D8.
Ooh, very nice. With 2 raises. So, Edward, you're kind of looking Sebastian over, and your last visual memory that's burned in your mind is seeing some organs getting torn out, right? Seeing his chest cavity being opened up. And you feel on his chest, there's no cut, there's no tears, there's some scratches, like I said, like a thorn bush maybe, or a kitten. You feel his ribs, expecting at any point as you're pressing on those ribs for Sebastian to go, ah, ooh, dude, like a bruised rib maybe. Sebastian doesn't react at all. And with those raises, you bring up your hand to his neck. You're not sure what to expect, but you feel his pulse. Can I get an occult roll?
Sure. My occult is a D6.
You've heard tales, Edward, of people coming back from the dead, of the dead walking. Maybe even read a few journals that you've dug up in the library back east. And every one of those accounts that you've read, every single one of them, they had no pulse. I don't think Sebastian notices, but as you're feeling his pulse, the curiosity gets the best of you, and you take your thumb and in kind of like not a real sensitive part of his shoulder, you cut your thumbnail into him, not sure in what to expect, but you see blood. So in all accounts that you've read, there should be no pulse. There should be no blood. If Sebastian is in a condition that you've heard is possible. By all accounts, Edward, Sebastian lost a wrestling match.
Everything all right there, Doc? Like,
It seems impossible, but you seem perfectly healthy. For a moment, I thought perhaps, and I don't know if that's the term that if Edward would use the harrowed term,
He wouldn't.
but that I thought that perhaps we'd come back, but everything seems fine. You seem perfectly healthy.
I mean, like
We can
ghost
see,
story,
like,
come back.
What the hell's going through Jack's mind as you're walking up and you see your three friends standing there and Edward giving a checkup to Sebastian?
Trying to figure out, wondering if maybe this was some kind of nightmare that, a lot of strange things out in the West. Wouldn't be surprised if we got hit by some kind of creature that gave us a shared nightmare. Sleepwalking's a thing. Could explain how I got out there.
but things like our clothes are torn apart, right?
You're
Like, this
tore.
is-
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have
When-
actual physical damage. It's
You have
not
physical damage to
significant.
all of your clothing. And the other key thing to remember is like the blood's all over the clothing, but the blood was over your skin, right? So you, like you feel the wetness of the blood as you wipe it away from like Jack on your arm, as you wipe that blood away, fully expecting just to see, the open wounds. Nothing, just some bruising.
Can I ask a couple questions?
You sure can.
Does our camp layout seem to be the exact same?
It looks exactly the same as of every account that you had. In fact, Ashira, you noticed the tracks, these huge paw prints all throughout the campsite. You can see where Sebastian took the log, threw it into the grass. The rain is putting out the fire, but that fire has happened. The shotgun that Sebastian used, spent on the ground. You go out to the grass to find your spear and you find it.
Well, gentlemen, it seems that we everything seems to I can track everything that happened here. It seems like
Don't
everything
suppose the
that we
horses
remember
are back?
happening. No, that's a good question.
What was the question?
I said I don't suppose the horses are back.
The horses are not back. In fact, the horses' carcasses, that you go back and it's everything as you left it.
Toshira's not going to go back there.
I don't blame Toshiro. Why
good.
you?
I believe you. I believe you.
So shouldn't I have bled out and died with this arm thing?
It seems
That's
like, right?
I mean, I seem to vividly remember having my chest cavity ripped open, and I don't think a lot of people come back from that one.
Well, you know what? This is gonna make cheating easier if I can't get the tar beaten out of me.
Yeah.
No, I thought you never cheated.
I don't. That's my word, and I'm sticking to it.
Maybe we should pack up our things and head down to the town and see if there's a drier place for us to stay, even though I don't
Yeah.
quite remember that town being there a few hours ago.
There is one thing I needed to mention. If we'd stayed on the train, none of this would have happened.
All right, Toshiro, I am sorry. Think you're
So,
doing a good thing, stand up for a friend.
I would say, do you think maybe we should look for a change of clothes before we like go walking through the center of town?
I'd say that'd be a wise decision.
Mine was with the horses. I'll let one of you grab it for me.
So I guess that's a big question. Would that change of clothes be on saddlebags, or would they have been at the campsite?
I feel like they would have been in saddlebags at the campsite
Yeah,
because you wouldn't tack the horses with the saddlebags on them for
right.
the night.
You tie them up and then you take the saddle off so they could lay
Perfect.
down and sleep.
Mhm.
Yeah, perfect.
So that's good. At least we don't have to go over to the horses to get the bags. So that seems like a plan, right? We're gonna get a change of clothes and then head towards the mystery town
Yeah.
through the valley
I mean,
of mystery.
unless you want to stay out here in the rain and possibly get attacked by whatever nightmare attacked us.
I certainly have no desire to stick around here.
Yeah.
Eric, I feel like I'm picking up an echo, man. Is that you still have the sound going to your headphones? It said you still have sound going to your headphones.
Yeah, I can still hear you guys fine.
Okay,
I'm not
that's weird.
hearing anything.
Picking up a slight echo. It's not bad though.
No.
All right, so we're going to change clothes.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm hearing it from you as well, so I think it's a internet delay.
Do me a quick favor, Eric. While we do this, do you mind dropping and using that link to come right back in?
Dropping out and coming back in.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
So Toshiro, what do you change into, my friend?
I think it's much of the same. I think it's largely buckskin clothing with a couple of sort of flare pieces of that he's kept just from his traditional garb. But I'm assuming that the native armor he was wearing, is pretty well annihilated.
Yeah. We don't have the echo, so that worked perfect. So I'm going to add you back to the scene. Give me just 1 second, brother. Appreciate you doing that. Edward, were you wearing your good clothes, or are you changing into your good clothes?
I'd like to think that Edward probably has a couple sets of what would be good clothes and may not have something that would be more like riders yet. So I think it's going to be roughly much of the same. So a suit, obviously no longer pressed, but
Jack?
and I think he'll forego the tie.
Okay.
Toshiro rolls his eye at that.
How about you, Jack?
Well, I basically had the windsuits, thrown on a spare pair of long johns, probably just pants and shirt, and throwing the duster on it over it to cover up some.
So we watch these guys. Imagine leaving the saddles there. You don't want to drag those with you. You got some clothes on your back. Make sure you got your weapons and such.
Yeah.
Head.
I'm going to go ahead and reload my rifle too while we're.
Yeah, we'll assume that everybody's reloaded their weapons and got that set. So you guys head towards this town. As you're getting closer, like I said, there looks to be about 8 buildings, a road running through the center of it, and then maybe there's some cabins and some dwellings out on the outskirts. You look down at your feet, and there's a road. And you look behind you. Hell, you've been walking on this road for 300 yards now. So you keep heading in. It's a wooden sign. Welcome to Perdition. Population 38. Right now, you're about 300 yards outside of the first set of buildings.
You know, I don't think those were the pearly gates.
Is there any smoke coming from any of the chimneys or anything?
That's a great question. So you look, Tashira, you kind of look ahead at the buildings. You see some chimneys. Not seeing any lit fires. Honestly, it's not probably cool enough, really, to maybe have a fire unless you were cooking, right? Best as you can tell, it's pretty late. First building on the left is a large building, one of the larger buildings of the ones that you can see. And you can see some light coming from it. Doesn't appear to be lights coming from anywhere else. Does anybody have survivalist or anything dealing with nature or...
I have survival.
All right.
Yeah.
Sebastian, I need a
Same.
survival roll.
All right. Seven.
Gotta love that explosion.
Oh,
You
yeah.
aced it. Aced it, picked up another 3. Your mind's all over the place, Sebastian. And almost to the point where you've kind of put it away a little bit in your head and just kind of accepted this is where we are. Right? This is what's ahead of me. I'm not thinking about 5 minutes ago. I'm thinking about 10 minutes from now. But you also remember going when you sat down at the fire before any of this happened. You remembered looking up at the moon. And instinctively, you kind of guessed what time it was, right? You kind of keep a track of time based off where the moon is, where it is, and as it travels through the night. You figured, it's probably being the fall and stuff is maybe about 9:30. And as you're walking down this road, you see this sign, you see this town. You stop for a second, and you're like, "Wait a second. I wonder how much time has passed." You look up at that moon. It ain't moved. It feels like at least an hour has passed. You would imagine seeing a little bit of movement on where that moon is in the sky. It hasn't moved at all.
Well, fellas, seems like time's standing still a little bit. Not quite sure what's going on.
You may have to elaborate a bit for me, Sebastian. I'm still a little confused.
Moon ain't moved in an hour. It's exactly where it was when we sat down to dinner.
That is odd.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, neither does getting my chest ripped out and waking up and looking no worse for wear.
But I guess the good news is that means we haven't missed dinner yet.
That's what I like about you, Mr. Jack. There's always a bright side.
Jack gets a Benny for that one. So you guys are standing at the sign. Welcome to Perdition. You've noticed that there's lights on in the one larger building off to the left. Sebastian's recognized that the moon doesn't appear to have moved. So either no time has passed, or as Sebastian said, maybe time stopped. Anybody have a pocket watch? Would have a pocket watch? Would it make sense for either?
I feel like it would make sense
I mean-
for Edward to have a pocket watch.
Yeah, and it would make sense for Jack to have one too.
So I'm imagining both Jack and Edward look at Sebastian like he's a little nutty, like he reads time from the moon. So you instinctively both reach into look at your pocket watch, and Jack, it's probably been a little while. It's not like you checked it right before everything broke loose, right?
Right.
But what he's saying makes sense. And the second hand on your watch ain't moving. Same with you, Edward. You tap
Definitely see him giving it a wind and
Yeah.
shaking it next to his ear.
It's
Anything
not
must be
ticking.
broken.
Nothing's
They
working.
say when you die, there's two places that you might go. And I don't think those were the pearly gates.
And we said there's a building with lights, huh?
There's a building up ahead, about 300 yards ahead on the left with lights. Can't
Well,
really tell
gentlemen,
what it is at this point, but that's the only building that appears to have light coming from it.
I think there's nothing for it but to head into town.
Yep.
Only way forward is forward. Let's go.
So as you guys get closer, I think more than anybody, Sebastian starts to get a little bit of a warm feeling because I think he starts to realize what this building is. It's raised up a bit. It's got half doors. You see the sign that says saloon. I need Sebastian to give me a notice roll real quick.
Notice. All right. And it's not as good. 3.
So as you walk close, you can see that's obviously there's lanterns turned on inside. No noise coming from it. It's got a front porch. Doesn't look particularly old. In fact, the town itself, if it'd been here for a couple years, you'd believe it. Which matches up this part of Kansas.
Well, I guess we should go in, get a drink,
No.
and try and figure out where we're at.
One quick question. None of the rest of you saw this town when we were bedding down, did you?
Certainly not.
Nope. Do you really think I would have volunteered to camp out if I had seen this town?
I'm just saying this because my long distance vision is somewhat compromised, but only slightly.
You're walking up to the porch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Walk up to the porch. Who's going in first?
Not it.
I'll lead the way in.
Yeah. I mean,
Sebastian goes up.
Either me or Sebastian.
Sebastian goes up the steps. You guys are all up on the front porch, and Sebastian pushes through the swinging doors. Look to your left and to your right, Sebastian. Ain't the biggest saloon you've seen. Maybe 5 tables. All empty. It's a full bar running along the opposing wall. There's mirrors. That's fancy. And 2 men. One's got his back to you. The other one's talking to him from behind the bar. Can't make out his face. But as soon as you go through that door and those doors start making some noise, the gentleman kind of leans over. Older man, maybe late 50s. Looks at you. Nods. Goes back to his conversation. The other 3, what are you doing before you go in, or are you just going in right behind them?
I was planning on going in right behind him.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, so all of you
I
see
think just to take
Go
a
ahead.
quick scan of the street to see if there's anybody else around before I go ahead and walk in after.
Yeah, it gets real dark real quick, right, Edward? Like your line of sight and your ability to see deep isn't there. But
Okay.
like I said, you can see the town seems to be about 8 buildings on either side of this dirt road. And as you're coming into this kind of shallow valley, you saw what looked like maybe some outskirt cabins that may have been there that aren't too far out of town. And I don't know if this is your first prairie town or not, Edward, but the makeup of this is about right. You have kind of the central commerce area, maybe a church, something like that, is what you would expect to see. And then there, people find their little homesteads outside of town there. But you see the 8 buildings. The road just kind of ends. So no, you don't see anybody else.
Okay.
So whoever's behind the bar acknowledges that you exist, but gets right back into their conversation. Whoever this gentleman's talking to doesn't even turn around.
And you said we don't see anyone else in the bar.
There's only the 2 of them.
Excuse me, sir. Get a shot of whiskey for me and my 3 friends here.
So the guy leans back out again. How many whiskeys you need?
4 altogether, please.
You got money?
I'll jangle the little coin purse I have.
Well, find yourself a seat.
Thank you kindly.
So he turns around and stops this conversation. He pulls out the shot glasses. You see him pulling out some whiskey. As you guys work your way to the bar, you look at this other gentleman, heavyset guy. Imagine he really likes pie. Not that old, maybe late 20s, early 30s. Doesn't look comfortable in his skin, like some people can carry how they're built, right? They're bit broad shoulders, maybe they got a couple extra layers around their mid pairs, but they handle it, right? They look comfortable. This guy does not look comfortable. But you do see a badge on him. Doesn't make eye contact with you. Just kind of looking at the bartender as he's pouring the drinks.
Excuse me, are you the sheriff here?
He kind of stutters and he goes, looks you up and down a little bit. Well, ain't you an odd looking one?
I get that a lot.
No, there ain't no sheriff around here in Perdition. I'm the town marshal. Name's Hank Doolittle. You guys aren't here to cause no trouble, right?
No, but we camped just outside of your town and were set upon by some sort of wild animal. Seems like the sort of thing the town marshal ought to know about.
Sounds like a rough night. Sorry to hear that, man. What's wrong with your eye?
This one works fine.
Well, it seems twitchy. You
works
okay?
Fine. The sheriff turns around in a huff, points at Edward and says, "You talk to him."
Gosh, what to say to a person?
So dunk, 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 dunk. You hear 4 shot glasses hit the table with whiskey, or hit the bar.
So Jack will pull out a sealed deck and he'll look at the marshal and say, "So tell me, Marshal, it okay to play some of Mr. Hole's games around here?"
Marshall looks at you with the cards and goes, "I reckon." Turns back to look at the bartender. Bartender goes, "Get you boys anything else, or does this take care of it?"
Where are we? Are we in Kansas? I get the feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah. Name's Town Perdition. Yeah, this is Kansas. Yeah, are you lost?
Marshall, would you happen to have the time?
Big sigh. Reaches into his vest, pulls out, looks at it. Looks to be about 10:15. Snaps it shut, puts it back in his pocket.
Is that what our clocks say too?
Matches up.
So, barkeep, it's getting a little late. You know, is there a boarding house around here or something?
Yeah, we don't have no hotels or nothing like that. It's just a little tradition here. I don't know if you can maybe make some friends in the morning. I don't know. I don't anticipate you guys finding shelter tonight around here.
Can we
So they,
can we just sleep here in the saloon?
you ain't
Last time we
sleeping.
slept at
You ain't sleeping in my saloon.
Hey, Marshall. So, is Drunken Disorderly a night in the pokey?
Looks at you and he goes, I reckon.
Won't be the first time I've slept over there, so you want to just take us over there and let us sleep it off, or you want us to actually make you have to work?
Yeah, I'm gonna finish my drink here and my
Sure.
conversation I'm having. But if you guys want to, I guess I could fit all four of you in there. Sure, I reckon I'll take you back there when I'm done.
Much obliged.
Thank you.
I'll pull out a silver dollar, put it on the thing. This cover it, barkeep?
So he looks at it, and I'm imagining, Sebastian, you expect a reaction, right? Like that should take care of a lot of drinks.
Yeah.
And barkeep looks at it and he goes, yeah, that'll cover it. Grabs
Sound
it,
good.
puts it in the till. So anyway, Hank, like I was saying, I'm trying to figure out and they just start having a conversation, just small talk.
gentlemen, this place gives me. I'm trying to remember what the phrase is that somebody taught me. The willies.
Yeah, that's a pretty good phrase for it. Well, I say we take the marshal up on his offer, thanks to Mr. Jack here, and go sleep it off and see what we can get to in the morning.
So, I'll start playing solitaire while waiting on them to finish up their conversation.
And he's nursing a whiskey, the marshal is, and they're chatting away, really not giving two flips that the four of you walked into this place. And the best word to describe their reaction when you converse with them is slightly annoyed.
I get that a lot.
As the man who introduced himself, the marshal there, Hank, as Hank takes a last sip of his whiskey, he goes, I reckon, Gus, I could have one more. Pushes the glass towards it. Gus goes back, grabs a whiskey, fills it back up again, starts sipping on it, nursing it. And they just continue chatting.
I do believe that the marshal is not going to be as accommodating as we originally had hoped.
Yeah, in a couple minutes, I'm gonna ask him what time it is again. But
Toshiro just takes his bedroll and just unrolls it against the wall somewhere.
So as you're doing that, what you plan on doing over there, sir?
Sleeping.
I told you you can't sleep here.
Well, I'll just sleep until he's done with his drink, and then I'll head out.
All right. Goes back to his conversation.
Well, if it ain't Drunken Disorderly, I guess we could always have trespassing on us.
Jack's got a list.
Jack is used to being on this side of the marshal.
Jack, how many different offenses have you been put into the, what'd you call it, pokey for?
I have some very interesting friends. How does that sound?
All right, I guess I'll accept that.
So I mean, if they keep going, if I get done my solitaire game, I'll go take a nap. Roll my boat roll down next to Shiro.
Talk to me about time, because this guy's nursing this drink. Edward, what are you doing? We got Shiro's going to take
I
his
think
one
I'm
distance
nursing
beverage.
mine.
All right.
Yeah.
And if he manages to take longer than me,
Oh, he does.
just saying something. I think I'm going to head up to the bar, and I'm going to ask for another. And I'll say something to the effect of, what was his name again? You just told me. Hold on.
Hank's the
Hey,
marshal. Gus is the bartender.
Hey, Gus, could I get another round of whiskeys,
Yeah, 4 more.
please?
So with one hand, he grabs 4 fresh shot glasses off the rack, brings it over, lines them up, grabs some whiskey, starts pouring.
And how much was that again?
Your buddy paid for it. You're fine.
And so I'm gonna pick up the glasses, and as I walk back towards the table, pardon me, Marshall, do you happen to have the time?
Pulls out his thing, pulls out his pocket watch, opens it up, and he goes, "Huh, 9:45. Well, hell, that's what time it was about 30 minutes ago." Taps it. Huh. Damn thing ain't working. Well, best guess, I guess. Maybe 10:15. I honestly don't know. That's odd. Puts it back in his pocket.
Thank you kindly. And I walk back to the table with the 4 drinks. Peculiar.
I mean, yeah.
But the marshal's watch isn't working either. That doesn't seem... Seems like too many watches to be a coincidence.
I'd say so.
So we all remember dying.
Also
and now
that.
we're in a town where it seems like time hasn't passed and everyone has a broken watch.
Yep. Sounds about the long and short of it.
Yeah. 2 places to go, and I ain't seen no pearly gates.
Hey Gus, who else lives in this town? Any other places we should be visiting?
Kind of stops his conversation with Hank. Kind of slides over to the bar and he goes, "You guys want another round?"
No.
No, thanks.
Is there a telegraph office here?
hey, he thinks we have a telegraph. No, you got to go far east for that.
Gentlemen, I hate this town.
We ain't hardly seen it yet.
And look, I don't want you all sleeping in here. You understand that, right?
I understand. Just understand that, we're making ourselves comfortable. We're waiting on the marshal. Marshal said that we can sleep it off in the jail.
Hey Hank, how you doing on that drink? I don't want them sleeping right here. Well, Gus, when I finish my drink, I'll lock them up. All right. You go clean all this up. Laying out your bedrolls.
Yeah, no problem.
So he heads back to whatever they're talking about has got to be amazing. Because neither of them want to do anything but continue this conversation.
Well,
And so, how far again was it from camp
Quarter
to
mile.
townish? Quarter mile. That's not far. And about. Do I have a feel for about how long we've been sitting in this bar?
I'm imagining it's at least 30 minutes at this point. And we can fast forward time if you want.
does anybody want to go eavesdrop on them and see if there's anything interesting they have to say?
I mean, I guess I could try.
I'm happy to do it.
Hmm.
Yeah, Toshiro will get the next round, and he'll slowly sip on his and see if he can listen in on their conversation a little bit.
So you get up, you ask him for another round. Slightly annoyed, Gus pours you 4 more. Says your fancy buddy over there with the big hat, he's got you covered. You guys kind of stay there. He doesn't seem to mind. He gets back, talking, leaning over on the bar, kind of face to face with Hank, who's sipping that whiskey. So I'm wondering whether we'd be better off, replacing the oak, maybe with some, because we could get some pine in here, right? We could redo these floors, and I'm figuring to change the shutters. Oh, Gus, I'm not sure where you're going to get that kind of money. I know, it could be crazy, but that's what I'm thinking, and then maybe some new tables would be nice, and there's all kinds of, because things could get busy. You never know. I don't imagine things getting it is just good God.
Toshiro just slowly puts his head down on the bar.
Yeah, at one point I think Hank talked about Sophie's shave cream versus Davis's shave cream, and which one feels better on the face, and they, boy, God bless Gus and Hank, they could not agree on that. Then they moved, and it just dude. There's 2 people who find this conversation amazing.
Hey, Marshall.
Yeah.
So where is the jail?
Where you think it is? It's just up the road a little bit. Right in the front part where I live. The marshal's office. Where you think it is?
I ain't been in this town before, so I figured it would be right next door to the saloon, but it's not. So I figured I'd ask.
Yeah, just up the road a bit. Listen. We got a couple benches in there. I'll get you set up. Let me finish my drink. And if you goofballs want to get locked up, I'll lock you up. But let me finish. I'm fixing to finish this drink now.
I understand. I just figured I could go ahead and start wandering down that way, so it'd be easier for you when you got done.
Well, I reckon if that's what you want to do. You know what, Gus? I think I'm going to have one more. He kind of slides the glass forward.
Okay. I'm ready to leave the bar now.
Yeah.
And I think I'm gonna, gentlemen, I think we should take a look around the rest of this fine town and see if there's something else to see.
Yeah.
I get the feeling the marshal here will be waiting when we get back.
Probably.
I need 4 notice rolls.
Do you want us to do them one at a time, or
please? Yeah, if we can
wants-
go,
okay.
let's go Toshiro,
Okay.
Jack, Sebastian, then Edward. So there's Toshiro, Jack, Sebastian, and Edward. All right. Toshio's too preoccupied and self-conscious about his eye, apparently. Jack hears it, makes eye contact with both Edward and Sebastian, and realizes with the look on their face that they hear it too. And it takes a second or two to kind of tell where it's coming from. But there's just like a scratching noise. And as you're making eye contact and you realize that the three of you hear it, it seems to be coming right below your feet. Like something scratching at the bottom of the floor.
You know, on second thought, I think it is time for me to roll up that bedroll. Maybe not take a candor. So I'll go start cleaning up my bedroll.
All right, you clean up the bedroll.
Is there anything distinct about the floor? Like if I look at the floor, is it just a
No, I mean, the
bar-
only thing
dirty
is,
bar
you know,
floor?
it was like most prairie buildings, you know, there's no basement, right? So and they really don't have brick and stuff like that. So what is very common is for them to build them slightly raised up, so essentially have like crawl spaces
Mhm.
under most of them. So and you noticed that as you came in because there's a couple steps up to get in the get on the porch, but no, looking at the floor, you know what? It's possible Gus is right. Maybe pine would look better. That's about it.
Do you
Gentlemen.
gentlemen hear that?
Yeah.
I
You
can't
mean the
hear
termites?
anything but that
Just-
insufferable conversation.
But Tashir, once it's pointed out to you, you hear it as well. And it's not constant. Could be a mouse.
It's a big mouse.
Big things ain't nothing new tonight.
It's a giant ghost mouse.
It's a rodent of unusual size.
Nice. Good reference.
I'm gonna stand up and kind of not like ready it and point it at the floor, but I'm definitely gonna have like stand up and just kind of have my rifle pointing down.
So
Oh,
Gus
now
kinda
somebody wants to
notices
get
that.
arrested.
Gus kind of knows that. Look, somebody goes, you all right?
I'm fine.
Hank, is all right he's got his gun out like that? Hank kind of turns and looks and goes, I reckon. Turns back.
You guys got a varmint problem around here?
Varmint problem? How so?
I don't know. That's what I was asking.
I mean, yeah, every once in a while you get a little field mouse in here or something. Why you ask?
Thought I heard something. Maybe just termites.
Oh, better not be no termites. See, that's what I'm saying, Hank. Like, I'm telling you, if it was pine, we wouldn't have to worry about termites. So that's another thing that makes me.
I have to hear the merits of pine one more time.
What do we think about? I don't think that's an Edward thing to do, though. So I think that I'm definitely ready to get up and at least not hear them.
Okay.
Yeah.
and maybe explore a bit of the up and down the street to see if we can see anything in these other buildings.
Edward, are you the first one to leave?
I feel like I will definitely stand up and suggest that waiting here is not going to be the best idea.
What's everybody think when Edward kind of sets up and says,
Once he says that, Tushiro is halfway out the door.
Yeah. No, that's
and I
what
think
Jim was.
I-
That's what
I'm
Jack
not-
was already cleaning up.
I'm not quite prepared to now go under and look at whatever this scratching is. I don't think that's where I'm at, but I am ready to at least maybe walk up and down the street and see if there's something
Sebastian?
to look at.
I'll see these guys kind of like heading for the door, and I'll just, politely, gentlemen, thanks for the whiskey, and we'll see you later.
I think possibly Gus semi acknowledges that you share the same world that he does, but he doesn't acknowledge you much past that. Tashira, you step outside. I don't know, maybe you didn't catch it on the way in. You sure catch it on the way out. As soon as you step on that porch, it's almost nauseating. The smell. You're like, something's dead. Something's died. You smell death. And it's strong. And as anybody else steps out, you see the look on Tashiro's face. He's like, and as you step out, all of you are just like you almost feel like you need to cover your mouth.
Do we see anything out of sorts?
Well,
Is there an obvious area where we can look underneath the saloon?
Yeah, I think if you step down the steps, I mean, there's not a lattice or anything,
Okay.
printed in the crossway. And quite honestly, when you step down the steps, it gets worse.
Ugh.
And as you kind of look under and kind of look under, like looking under the saloon, like, holy Christmas, that's where it's coming from.
So I'm gonna move over so that if something tries to drag him under, I can grab his legs real quick.
Okay. So yeah, Tashira, you're on your knees and you're on there, and it's pitch black, right? You can't see anything down there. But oh my God, that is where the smell is coming from.
Well, I'm grateful that I bought a lantern during character creation then. So I'm going to go ahead and light that up.
You light up the lantern. Doesn't seem to be able to get deep enough, though. Not from where you are. So you don't see anything. Takes you in about 10, 15 feet. This thing's at least 40, 50 feet wide.
Do it.
All right. I'm going to hand Ryozu my my Naginata back to one of the others above and say, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm going to go take a look and see if somebody's hurt or dead down there.
So you get on your hands and knees. Who takes the spear?
Oh, it's there, so if nobody else will take it, I'll take it.
Tashiro, you kind of gorilla crawl. Got the lantern in front of you. Dirt. Kind of moist. You jump a little bit, some critter, bug crawls across your forearm. You slightly overreact to that because, yeah.
It's been a night.
It's been a night. You start working your way closer to the center. You see her red hair. Her head's turned away from you. She's laying there. Best you can tell, yellow dress. And a lot of blood. All coming from her neck. We're going to go to credits. We'll be right back. All right, real quick. I see you, Dag. Hope you're doing well on that side of the planet, man. Thanks for coming by. Well, so that was something.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
Let me quickly do some quick plugs, and I do want to talk to you. And I know that Eric, if you need to bounce, feel free to bounce. You don't have to stick around for all of this, but just real quick, just to bring everybody up to speed on the 4th, this Saturday coming up, we've got our next installment of our Star Wars game. That's going to be at 3:00 Eastern. And then probably the big news is sometimes we got to wait weeks, month or so before we get to episode 2 of these things. Not for these boys. 1:00 Monday the 6th on Labor Day. We're going to do episode 2. So we don't have to wait too long. Just a couple sleeps. Where do I want to start? Let's start with you, Donald. What did you figure out what the hell was going on, or at least that this beast wasn't going down?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I think it was a little bit before the crit, definitely at the crit.
Yeah.
That was, it definitely felt like it was, because you started it off and it felt like the classic first module. Let's have that combat to learn the rules.
Right.
And then it kept going. And it kept going. And it's like, this monster's not going down fast enough for a rat fight for first level characters.
Rat fight, exactly.
So something's going on here.
Yeah. So I'd be curious though, so as you're piecing that through, because I was very I love this opener. I think it's a great opener. And I think it sets an incredible tone for where you guys are now, right? But I have been stressing out for weeks now about being in your seat. and what the thought process, I mean, was there at any point where you're like, holy shit, Craig's gonna kill all of us, or this is probably what he's been kind of hinting at, or am I making sense, Donald?
Yeah, so I will say that once I hit the injured stat, then I was like, okay, well, I can always come up with another character. Won't be the first time I've lost a character, type of thing,
So you did think it was the end of Jack?
Yeah, I thought it was quite likely the end of Jack. And then once we woke back up, I'm like, okay, the deal with the devil describes that you actually go to the hunting grounds to have a mental battle with the Mantu. And so that was why, when he woke up, he's like, okay, this deck, it's been marked by Mantu. It's dead to me, because nothing but bad things are going to happen with it. And so then we see the town, and then the thing came up. And as a player, I'm thinking, well, did we die? And this is like 3 years later, and the town built up around us. But as a character, he thinks he's on a hunting ground, to be honest.
Interesting.
He's making the jokes about purgatory, but he thinks he's on a hunting ground.
Which makes total sense. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So I'd be curious for you, Eric, because you have a lot of familiarity with this game. You've played it a lot more than me, because I've played it for exactly 3 hours. What was I want to understand you as a player, your thought progression, somewhat similar to Donald. Was there any point where you're like, okay, this is part of the shtick, or is oh, Craig doesn't know how to balance encounters, or
No, honestly, so I spend a lot more time in your seat than I do actually playing games.
Yep.
So it's hard. There is a disconnect for me when it comes to actually being a player character, because it was one of those where I think it was when Toshiro hit him early on and nothing happened. I was like, crap, this is an unkillable beast. Something's going to happen. But I also had an inkling something like this was going to happen, because the title of the thing is Dead Men Walking.
Yep.
But it was one of those where definitely once I got to and I was real happy that I got to show off what, Deadshot could do on that Joker. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But once that thing took 62 damage, and it just kind of was like, hello.
Now I'm mad.
Come back now.
Me.
Yeah.
I Yeah, so for me, it was one of those where I was like, okay, this is probably meant to happen. It's cool. Also, it was kind of your nonchalantness about putting Jack into the harrowed state. You weren't like, oh man, I killed this guy in the first encounter. It was all right, let's look up what incapacitate. Like, it was a very, like,
Procedural.
yeah.
That's funny. All right. So, Corey, not Toshiro, Corey. Does Corey have any theories about what the hell's going on right now?
Oh no, I've been racking my brain. One thought was that somehow we kind of got that we got thrown into the future, maybe, uh, or some sort of time loop, Groundhog's Day situation. But no, I'm racking my brain. So now that we've found this body, I'm kind of wondering if it's some sort of like uh, purgatory created by a murder of some sort. But I don't have enough information at this point.
How about you, Jim?
So I think when the fire was still going, I kind of ruled out that we had moved forward and come back later, because that wouldn't have added up. But it definitely feels, mystic in some way, because this road that we weren't on is now a road that we are on, and so we're definitely, it feels other planerly. If that's a word.
Mhm.
The fact that time's not moving is
Well, is time not moving, or is the moon and the clocks not moving? Or is that one and the same?
Right. Things that measure time aren't moving, so
Okay.
I guess well, like we're moving through. We're not stuck, but
Right.
it definitely feels like not. Outside is stuck, I guess. So that's definitely surreal.
So my big question is, whenever I'm running mysteries, investigative mystery type situations like this, is I think about threads, right? Like, at the end of every session or during the sessions, there's things you want to figure out, threads you want to pull and see what comes out. So I'm going to ask each one of you, starting with Jim. Jim, what are 2 threads you want to pull on and see what comes out?
So I would love to know if we could figure out more about the wolf puma monster that in fact killed us. And I can't wait to find out more about who this girl is and whether or not, like, are we going to take her to the marshal, who seems super disinterested in anything but the floor, or like, how are we going to find more about who this girl is? So those are the 2 for me.
Eric, what are your 2 threads?
I mean, I'm in agreement with Jim here. Like, the girl's definitely probably the main one I want to find more out about, and also just the time loop thing. Like, time doesn't seem to be passing, and they seem to be progressing, even though, like, the conversation's probably, oh, pine's better than maple, like, but they're not noticing it, so it's just figuring out what's causing the time loop
Mm-hmm.
or whatever we're stuck in.
Toshiro?
I think why we're alive again is a big one, and then also why we didn't notice the smell before. I feel like that's going to tie back to a lot of the questions that we have.
Interesting. Well, the good news is we don't have to wait that long. So like I mentioned, Monday, we're going to be playing this again during the holidays. I'm going to quickly connect so we can do a quick raid. But gentlemen, it's the first time well, Jim and I have played, but this is the first time role playing on the stream though, right, Jim?
If you count the board gamey one, shoot.
But role playing,
role
right?
playing, yeah.
Yeah, but we've role played before because we've done it at Jim's part of my in-person game. So it's Jim, it's nice to play with you on the stream, and Donald, God bless you, man. I've been on you to join one of these games. I finally tricked you into it, and I hope it went went all right for you.
Oh yeah,
Good,
definitely.
good. We actually Corey Sidewinder's got a question for Corey. Does Corey play a goblin in a Forbidden Lands game? Voice sounds familiar.
No, I do not. I
You should, because Forbidden Lands is awesome, and goblins in Forbidden Lands are also awesome.
All of this is true. All of this is true. All of this is true. Eric, is it nice to be a player, or do you still prefer being a GM? I battle with that.
Yeah, it is a constant struggle for me because like I love being a GM and I love seeing I love seeing my players' reactions and like just smiles, and I love hearing stories my players tell later.
Yep.
But I also have like notebooks of character concepts and stuff I just want to play. So
Yeah.
like it's great to finally be able to play and have fun, especially in a setting that I absolutely love. So
All right, very, very cool. Guys, we're going to raid Texas Doug, my buddy Texas Doug. He's painting some models. We're going to head over to raid there. For those of you that stuck through this whole thing, especially watching me live, I really do appreciate it. Everybody take care. And make sure you tell Texas Doug who sent you. All right, raid now. And